I mean, it's cheaper to walk with. See, it's what you guys are. It's fine. It's fine. I see this. I know this.
You see that? Okay, we are ready. All right. We will reconvene the meeting and start with policy items for consideration, department request for consideration to the 25-26 budget. And first up,
And remember, this is the same for this list too. This is the
wish list.
wish list.
Okay.
I'll try not to ask me.
You can ask questions. That's the whole point. All right, Darla, you want to start with admin?
So last year, we brought to y'all a cost of living adjustment. We adjusted our pay scale for, increased it due to inflation and cost of living. You will not see that this year. What we're proposing for personnel is just to stick with our step and grade plan. People, if they've been here for, 6 months or more, they would get a step increase of 3%. And then, but no adjustment to starting salary or anything like that. So you don't see any of that in here. What you do see under admin is mainly things that are going to be required and needed due to the expansion and remodel of this building. Peggy, most of this is technology. I don't even know what is IDF room? I don't know what that acronym is
IDF
for.
room is information data facilities.
Take a look.
Yeah, that sounds like it. She's probably watching right now going, really?
Yeah, it's such a lot.
Really? You don't know if that is?
Really?
But that's about $5,000. The council chambers, as you know, we are completely remodeling this room, expanding out this direction. The dais is gonna be on this wall. And we need to make a lot of improvements for microphones, cameras, speakers, sound system. How we're going to have technology work at your seat versus turning and maybe looking at TVs and things like that, having AV at each spot. And there's also going to be more spots for staff seating at that. I don't know how much, but some more staff seating also. We need data cabling for the new offices and cameras within the city.
That number's gonna come way down.
The cameras is gonna come right down, but we want to go ahead and get the infrastructure of the cabling installed when you're under construction so that cameras can be added as needed. So this 258,000 that you see on page 281 for cameras and access control systems, that will more than likely come down. We'll probably start with a smaller amount of cameras. But there is going to be keyed access for the majority of City Hall. I think the only thing that will be open will be the front lobby area and the hallway that's going to be down finance. That's open and no keyed access, but everybody else is protected. So we are the only sitting ducks.
Thank you.
Well, there's really, with the construction being that it's not new build and it's a remodel, there's really no way to shut down that hallway. It's your access to your public bathrooms, it's access to pretty much everything. We need to add some telephones to the new system with the, both to the new conference rooms and some additional offices, so there's some cost there. And then the generator, so the generator is right back behind this wall. It's very old, but it's not, can't be reused with the expansion. We need a bigger generator, a newer generator, and that generator is going to come out. I don't know exactly when, but we are going to need to rent a generator while we're under construction because we can't put the new generator in at this point during construction. So that 240,000 cost is probably something it's not probably, it's a definite need to have a new generator and a rental for construction. So just those needs, you're looking at over 700,000. But as I stated before, our estimate for the
City Hall side.
City Hall side of the expansion is lower than we had anticipated, so there's budget savings in this current budget from that. My finance closed during March, I'm reopening it, but it was significant. More than 700,000, I believe. That was a little more, or 1 million. So
Lower than what?
more, if the savings is more than 700,000, I think it was our estimate, I think it was
Oh,
even 1 million
okay.
greater than what it came in at. I'm pulling that up. But that's pretty much administration. But I know, I can't stand it. I got ink all over my hands and I'm an ink. I hate it. Drives me crazy.
Borrow pencil?
I'll never have a tattoo. That's pretty much the admin side. I do know, we went out for health insurance bids and our current provider increased greatly. But we are, I think, going to experience some savings. We're going to switch providers probably from Blue Cross over to United Healthcare, and that is looking really promising. We will have budget savings there for sure. So,
Okay. All right, next department's airport.
Airport, so airport, we have in 125,000 for airport security fencing. We are gonna attempt to couple this with some of our ramp grant funds. So we'll see how far we can stretch the ramp grant funding on that. You know, the new side's finished, the new transit parking. And right now we need to get some fencing in there because we want to start using it, but we can't just open it up with no fencing because we're gonna end up with cars on the transit parking and then onto the runway and who knows, so we gotta get that. So Chris and I are working on coming up with a scope of work on what the perimeter fencing needs to look like around the entire property, but right now concentrating on the north side first to get it, so we can get it opened up.
The 125 does the whole property?
No. The 125 coupled with some ramp grant will do the majority of it.
But you want the fencing to be put up now, so,
Yeah, we want at least the fencing on the north side done now.
okay, but that's this year's budget. No.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna tackle some of that in this year's.
Okay,
budget.
good. I
Yeah.
was gonna say, so we're not gonna wait till October to
No,
start.
no.
But we're negative 146, so we make that up, or is that, you mentioned something about general?
I don't think we're gonna make it up this year. We can let them keep working their way back. Or, you know, we can make them whole with general fund, but, and that's where the match originally came from. The TxDOT Aviation grant was from general fund. But with the new land lease for hangars, that will give us more monies. I don't know when that's gonna be
That's gonna be. a
kicking
lot.
off. It's gonna be a little bit, but
When we expand into the new lease area, which is on the north side of the new transit parking, our hope would be to get jet fuel. That would be, we'd be getting bigger hangars in there. And so probably enough requests that it would warrant getting jet fuel. I've been asked by others. Yeah. It's definitely on the wish list of the airport board, you know, we talk about often.
Is that on the current list that they,
No, it's not.
that they didn't submit?
No, it's not.
no, that was paving.
Okay.
I mean, a new. Got a fuel tank, we're probably looking at about $130,000.
Because we paid a lot to get it redone, the other one.
Yeah.
That was just for avgas.
I know. Oh, this is even a
This is jet fuel,
fancier.
We have both.
a different,
Okay.
Yeah, we put them side by side.
yeah,
It'll be a new tank.
a new tank, because we don't
Yeah.
provide, we don't have it right now.
But you have to keep the gas for all the other. things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like diesel
Yeah,
and
you don't-
unleaded. Yeah, they have them both.
Okay.
Yeah. Um. So if that, I mean, stuff like, I mean, obviously, if that wasn't put in there as a budget item for municipal, I mean, for the department director or staff. But like Councilmember Owens asks about it, I mean, is that something that we would ask to put in budget or look at, or you're saying that you
I
wanna
can
wait?
Put the number if you guys wanna look at it.
Yeah, anything y'all have in departments that we don't mention that y'all want collectively, let us know. We'll put it in the budget. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's our opportunity to do that, right?
yes,
Okay,
that's exactly why we're here.
you wanna do that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Is there lighting that has to go around that little taxiway to get you over from the runway to the airplane taxi? Okay. So we're not missing anything at the airport for this upcoming budget.
that's a question, David, sorry. I
Oh,
know,
that's-
I know you're,
that's-
I know you're writing stuff down.
Here's the thing. We could spend millions at that airport.
I don't want
Millions.
to. I'm just-
And it would still just be a basic level of service.
Right.
Personally, I put the squeeze on them. They just, it's, my philosophy has always been, that's kind of a private club and I'm just, from my point of view, I don't like dumping a lot of general fund money at it. I mean, it's probably, if you look at what's coming into the city as far as people, it's probably 0.001% of how people get into Port Aransas. It's not an economic engine by any stretch of the imagination. So I just, man, I squeeze them. I just don't offer up a whole lot of service because it's just a black hole. I mean, if you look at percentage wise what they should be getting, it's a teeny amount of money. Teeny, like, so like, for me, like building a $200,000 Jet A fuel, let them come up with the money. I just don't see the value in general fund dollars going to the airport for a handful of guys that fly. It's economically, there's 10,000 cars that come up the highway for every plane that lands. So it's minuscule.
And it's only so big.
It's teeny.
Yeah.
I mean, most cities don't even operate an airport. Most cities rely on the counties. I mean, Rockport, Aransas Pass, I mean, those are all county airports funded by the county. And so it's, yeah, I didn't even like the fencing, to tell you the truth.
But they want paving for 550,000. If you put
Paving,
that on
it
top
just-
of that,
just-
that's
it-
675,000.
It never ends. We just spent $600,000 on airport improvements, city general fund dollars.
But we had to do that in order to get the improvements
Yeah.
that came with the grant. So
Yes.
that was something that took a long time to process.
Yeah.
So I think that.
There are people out there that have approached the city that will come in and build everything. Without us spending a penny. They'll do it all.
What do you mean? Like?
There's investors that'll come in
Would like.
and they want access to build all the new hangars. They want to build everything themselves.
Tell them, yeah, but they gotta build the animal shelter.
You know, so those people, they're out there. They'll come in and do it. Now, do all the guys on the hangar list want that? Probably not.
No. Yeah. How many you have on the list?
50.
Oh, wow.
Is it wrong to expect the fees that the city charges to pay for what needs to be, so it's,
You'd have your
or
fees
the
would
fees
be,
be so ridiculous?
yeah,
it
I mean,
becomes parking lot.
if you had
Okay.
overnight fees that were like $200, $300 a night, but they wouldn't come.
No, I don't know if we could do an auction for a hangar again, for the hangar lease.
We probably could. if you don't,
Possibility.
not.
If you jumped in front, we have 50 on the list, but if we auctioned it again, that's how we got a lot of this match.
I remember.
Came from the general fund, but it was a very successful auction.
I mean, they want water and sewer brought into the new area, electric. I mean, it's millions of dollars of once.
Well,
Just the return on investment is just,
But they didn't want anything this year.
oh no, they're
Except
doing
the
plenty.
fence.
That's just me putting the squeeze on Chris.
Oh.
I think that their list didn't make it into the packet
Oh,
right.
due to their timing.
They remembered their list. Oh, yeah, I didn't have that.
okay.
Okay. I think that if you could put in what the estimated cost would be to add the jet fuel, and then, I mean, to me, that at least is something we would charge for, not to say that you're gonna recoup the cost of that the first year. I don't know what the potential is and how many people would use it, but, if you'll just give us the estimate, and then we can make a decision if
Okay.
there's a need versus the cost. Okay. EMS. Better be a short list after that discussion.
Point this way.
What time did you generate, sir?
This week by, okay.
We need you.
Yeah, we bring in a little bit. It definitely doesn't do the whole thing, but it's something. So our list, I guess, I'm hoping mine's the same order as y'all's, but the first one's ultrasound.
Yes.
So ultrasound, this is, as far as our list, I think this might be medically, it's the only thing that we're asking for. So ultrasound, we can use it in the field to detect pulses, and a lot of times in cardiac arrest, this is kind of like your verification. You can run EKG, but if it's a little fuzzy, but you kind of want to make that assumption and be sure about it, make sure you can't detect any kind of pulse. So that's one of the things. It will require additional training, but we can do all that in-house. Pretty much this is just for the equipment.
Daniel explained, and I don't want to get too micromanaged in the weeds about things, but I mean, when I think of an ultrasound and what that entails, it's a whole process of going to a clinic and getting an ultrasound. Is this a handheld device that you use? Okay. And-
Yeah, most ultrasounds now, it's called the Butterfly.
Right.
Most of them now, even whenever you go to a lot of clinics, they're going to use some sort of an iPad or a phone, and they connect it to it, and then they make the bigger screen, which we already have all that in the back of the ambulance. All we need is the Butterfly that connects it. And so it's just the wand
Okay.
pretty much,
Good.
and it goes into the connection, and then, you'll use like a type of a jelly, or sometimes you don't even have to, and,
Sure.
do the ultrasound. You can do it for pulses, you can do it. If you can't find a vein, a lot of times you can do ultrasound and find where the vein is. And, whenever a lot of the very sick patients are very hard to get those kind of sticks. And so this is one of those things that keep us from drilling them. And so it kind of goes into the next, we'd use that before we have. to
And
drill
is this
somebody.
the cost for one
No,
Butterfly?
that's to outfit all
For
three ambulances.
All three ambulances, okay.
I was gonna say.
Pretty better.
And it actually might be a little bit less. This was before we got our hard bid back, and I think they're currently around 14,000 for the three. But like I said, I need to do a little bit more research on that and make sure there's no other additional little pieces that I need to get with the ultrasound. Any questions on ultrasound?
Okay, okay, all right.
The next one, Darla and I were talking about it, and just because of these extended lead times on ambulances, do we need to go ahead and get the next one on order? And
Budget 2028?
yeah, so it's about, they were telling me 3 years, and then I just got the quote in. And so I don't know if y'all's actually show, what's it show for the price, 350 or 420?
You got 421,
Okay.
350.
I didn't know if it got updated. My original was 350. That's what we were thinking. And then I got the actual quote and it's 421, 350. So, and they're saying around 30 months.
So again, do we have to pay for it this budget?
No, you don't
cycle?
pay for it till it comes in,
No, but
Oh,
you
okay.
commit.
but you got to commit it
But you
and
commit.
and we'll just keep rolling it
You
over
do
each
not
year.
pay for it this budget cycle.
And you commit at this price.
Correct.
Yes, it'll lock the price.
Yeah, I mean, well, we had placed the order ideally, budget goes October 1st. Usually it's by November, we have the order placed. And there was, I think they said they added a $12,000 contingency from now till then, just in case anything changes. If it doesn't, they'll back that out of it. But essentially, this is the exact same ambulance that I ordered 3 years ago that's coming in November, and that's just what the thing wanted.
And do you anticipate that you will have a need for a new ambulance in 3 years?
Yeah, currently, so that'll be replacing, at that time, it'd be replacing unit 526, which is a 21. And we traditionally, we're doing a 7 and out.
Is that the white one?
No, the white one is one I'm borrowing right now because I'm down to one ambulance.
The borrowing? Okay, okay.
Oh, that Tri-County was a borrow?
Yes,
I
it's
thought
gonna
Tri-County.
it's gonna
was-
be here for a little
Doesn't
while.
know.
'Cause
Okay, I was wondering.
The red one's gonna be replaced. We have two blue ones and a red one.
Two
So the
blue-
red one is gonna be replaced in November, ideally.
Okay,
And then this would replace the first blue one we ever got, which was the 21.
well, I mean,
I mean, I can try to limp along. When you limp them along like we're doing with the red one right now, it's broke. The other blue one's getting paint and warranty work getting done, so it's in Kennedale. So I'm down to one ambulance right now, and it actually blew a pulley yesterday. So I had to borrow an ambulance to try to keep going this week.
I think it's the prudent thing to do is to put one on order. It's not a commitment of cash flow today, of course, out of our budget, but if it takes 30 months.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I wouldn't even try to stretch it and go push it off a year, but I think it's only gonna get more expensive. And it takes a long time. And who knows what the lead times are gonna continue to be. I mean, they've been like this since what, 2020? 2020, they
And the
started.
price is just skyrocketing every year.
Yeah,
The one we ordered in 21, December 21 was 256,000. 143.
Wow.
the exact same ambulance.
What do we do with the old ones?
They go to auction. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, it might be smart this time just with the repairs and everything else. I don't know how much of an impact that is to keep on a fleet for a spare unit. Completely up to y'all or city.
Keeping the
but
red one, you mean?
Yeah, I
New
mean,
one?
The only advantage of keeping the red one is, it blew its engine last year. So it's got a brand new engine in it. It's got a brand new rear end in it. It's got a brand new full drive in it. And then hopefully
Yeah.
this week it'll have a brand new AC in it. So, can maybe try to stretch another couple years. I mean, that's just kind of up to y'all. If you
Only
want to
if you rewrap
spare.
it.
Blue doesn't look like Boris.
We can always
I know it's their favorite box.
link.
big.
It's just, it's a 14-foot box versus.
Like how much room is in there.
Yeah.
I've unfortunately been in the back end with my dad. Yes, so.
But that ambulance is over 550, almost 600,000 out for that size ambulance. So that's why we went back down to the 12-footer. Because it's just such a price increase.
Right,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one that's on order that we ordered it November of 22. We were hoping to get it November of 25.
Mhm.
And it was 340,391.
Yeah, so
That's gone up
went from 340 to 420.
80,000 again.
Need to block
3
this
years.
down.
They keep doing it.
At what point do we go to 4 ambulances?
I don't think that we have the call volume currently
Okay,
to
okay.
staff that.
No, but
I think
in
as far
3
as,
years with people coming,
oh, there's no doubt it's growing and it's definitely getting big. Like, I mean, we were talking about the other day, I think we're averaging this last week, I mean, we're doing almost 10 calls a day, which is insane. But I still don't feel like the total volume, we currently staff on the weekends, or we're trying to staff 3 crews. Memorial Day to Labor Day on the weekends. Like right now, I don't have enough ambulances to have the 3 crews. So so we're just, I mean, I don't know. You can't keep, it's the total fleet across the board. Everything is breaking, even the brand new stuff is breaking. And so trying to keep an ambulance on the road is
it'll be better when it gets to spend the night inside.
Yeah.
100% it'll be
Yeah.
better. Yeah. That'll help. And then hopefully just some of these,
Or daytime.
little quirks since COVID and since the chip thing and since everything else, whenever we had, just the auto industry's been tough. So hopefully they just start operating a little better. I don't know, but I mean, always as a spare, I mean, I don't know of a single service out there that doesn't have 1 or 2 spares. We've just always kind of made it without it because if we dropped one, then we can, kind of operate, with our call volume, we can still operate at it too. And it just,
When
it
you
always.
borrow an ambulance from Tri-County,
Mhm.
do we pay them a fee?
We do not. We have a very good mutual aid relationship. And we run a lot of calls with them and we help them out in other ways. And so I think that it's the relationships. I mean, technically, should we be? Probably. I mean, it depends on how often it'd be that we don't do it very often. I think this is my second time in 4 or 5 years to borrow an ambulance, but just happens to be this week.
And under our lease
we have-
programs,
Yeah.
We currently do police vehicles, but obviously with EMS.
I don't-
They don't do
they don't do
ambulances.
I figured so.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Too specialized, they don't.
So,
And they
Well-
want things that are gonna have a resale value in ambulances or not.
I think if we can lock in a price at this amount for a 3-year out, knowing what we most likely need one, then we should probably move forward with ordering one just to save ourselves maybe even another $100,000 off the price.
yeah, I mean, let's say almost 80,000 has gone up since the last time we were in 3 years.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Absolute worst case, you don't take delivery with penalty, because obviously if there's a 2.5 year wait, somebody else will do something. Somebody be right
Sell.
behind you, ready to.
Yeah.
Well, and they did say that, they said, you know, you could lock it in now and then say they call next month and they go, hey, this ambulance gonna be done in 12 months. You know, and it's like, well, I wasn't ready for that, you know?
Yeah.
They said that we can easily throw your spot, give it to somebody else, and then we can push you to almost so you're just going to that date. So, cause I was worried about that, you know, possibility. What if all of a sudden we're flush with ambulances and then next year they're ready to go? Cause when we first started, when the first ambulance I ordered, I got 90 days and now they're taking 3 years. So I mean, that just goes to show you how much of it's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that plan with that.
Yeah.
Okay, new vests.
Yeah, these were actually on last year's budget and somehow I can, from whenever I sent it over to Darla or vice versa, whatever, but it didn't make, but they are expired and essentially, I mean, there's no point in us even wearing a vest if something bad happened and they came back and it was expired, then I think that's more of a liability than anything. And just like the PD, you know, as you go, you gotta have current products. So this is something that we've had vests issued to our guys for years and years, and this is just one it's time to replace.
Required.
It's not required. I mean,
Oh.
it's something that we've always done, or not always, we've done for, I don't know, it's gonna be at least, I think I'm on my second or third vest, so I mean,
These before the hurricane.
yeah.
If we buy them, they're required to wear them.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Okay,
I have a
okay.
policy to where, yeah,
Okay.
we wear them like all of our spring break, late night bar calls. I mean, there's
Okay.
timeframes. They're not required year round. That's not what we do, but if that's y'all's discretion, we could, but it's typically on the stuff that's gonna be a little riskier type of calls. You know, we do a lot of standbys if they're serving warrants or doing something like that, you know, any kind of calls where we're staging offsite before we go into a dangerous situation, that's whenever you. But they do carry them with them at all times in the trucks. So.
Okay, all right.
So y'all's next page, the fire EMS alerting system.
No,
Nope,
it's
okay.
additional person for new
Okay,
station.
additional personnel. So this essentially is, when we get to the new station, it's gonna have a downstairs treatment room, it's gonna have a downstairs office, and then like a little, vestibule. So whenever public walks in, they're in a little secure vestibule, go to the window, you'll have somebody there to talk to, somebody to answer the phone. If they come in and they need treatment as far as like jellyfish, stingray, or anything that's somewhat basic that you can treat right there in the treatment room, because there's a treatment room directly behind the office, then that person could treat that patient without having to bring a crew down, or if the crews are not on site, then ever they can still treat, they can still report and do the billing. And then the supply room and the inventory room and everything is downstairs. So when your trucks come in, whenever the crews go in there to get their new supplies, then they would, you know, they would go through the person there, they'd go through the supplies, keep the inventory, and then they'd also be able to do all the ordering and inventory.
Yeah, 61,500 is our cheapest employee.
With all in
Benefits.
benefits and whatever, okay.
That's what, 19.
19 an hour.
Would you hire a $19 an hour person to treat minor things? Or that would be more expensive?
So, I mean, well, our EMT pay is actually less than that, I believe.
Yeah, but that's because you've got a built-in schedule of
That is correct.
105, 106, or 120 every 2 weeks.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, if we put somebody down there, it would be an overtime position, so it would be an EMT, but I don't know how we'd have to structure that pay. I mean, I know that I talked to Fran a little bit about it, and of course, they've looked into it, but you know,
It's more like a $70,000.
Yeah, if they're an EMT. Yeah, that's a 19, you'd be building them more than that.
but if you just said that other pay was at around 19 an hour,
19 an hour is 61,500.
which we could do. Because that's at a 40-hour work week. correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not gonna be.
I mean, that don't make 61.5.
I understand.
That's
Yeah.
all.
Right. Well, I wanted him to understand.
Yeah,
That's why
Thought
I
he
put
did.
42 in there because that was
Yeah, that's not even
hourly wage
42.
or whatever, labor not.
hourly. rate.
39. The 39,000.
At
not
the
42.
base, yep.
So you were a little higher than
Couple thousand,
whatever.
yep.
Okay, gotcha. So 61.5 is the all in all done benefits, insurance, et cetera. Okay, all right.
So the next one is the network infrastructure. That one there, and I actually have the updated quote, I just got it in, and I think it was at 94,000, not 100, but just right there at 100. These are all things that Sparky has been working on, I guess, for the new station, stuff that, we didn't, I guess we need for all the networking, the camera system, the fire alerting system, just everything that needs to go into the new station, from my understanding. So.
No, that's not fire alerting.
No, I know, I'm
This
talking
is
about,
just network.
talking about the next three items.
Yeah.
So are any of these items that were in last year's budget? Because we anticipated the fire station to be finished. So these maybe would be carryover,
Don't think,
or these things that we didn't estimate because.
I don't
we
think
felt
fire
would
was
be finished?
budgeted
Okay,
last
You don't think
year.
what?
I don't think the fire was budgeted last
For
year
net, for,
for
all
networking
that?
and all that. Yeah, no, I don't think it was in
I
there.
know that Sparky said he had got a quote last year, but I was not a part of that, and he said
Yeah,
at
just
that point it was around 80,000 and it's gone up to 94. But once again, I don't know if it was in somebody
I don't think they
else's.
were put in the budget.
Okay,
okay.
yeah, and again, the security cameras, that's gonna come way down. We're gonna trim that heavily. The 152, 142.
You won't need that many access control security cameras.
Well, the access control. That's all the doors, that's all your,
Yeah.
we're gonna go to
Right, keyless entry.
the keyless entry, so that will remain, but the security camera component. We'll drop that probably in half.
so we just got the quotes. So on that other one, the networking is at 92,000, 92,045, and then instead of 100. And then the access control systems at 85,295.
Big difference from 152.
Well, it's because it was access control and security cameras, and the security camera part
Oh.
was 63,136.
63.
So that grand total was 148,431. We'd been waiting on these quotes and they finally just sent everything over. So that's on the access control, security cameras, and the network infrastructure.
Okay,
And then I guess the next,
fire EMS station alerting.
let me go backwards here. The fire, okay, yeah, EMS station alerting. What did y'all show on that?
150.
Okay, and I think I've got a quote and it's 250.
215? What are we alerting?
We just got all these, and from my understanding, so the fire alerting system is where there's gonna be speakers in every single bedroom, speakers throughout the station, speakers downstairs, speakers throughout the offices. You're going into a 22,000 square foot building where you get alerted. So whenever dispatch, whenever they work as, I think it's a console to like Zetron. It's a whole console, right, for y'all?
Yeah, it's
I'm sorry, this is a little bit foreign for me because it's not really EMS. I mean,
It's
it's,
a little bit of a component in this, so because we dispatch for them, so the fire alerting, what happens is, it's a piece of equipment that gets installed in dispatch, and so whenever they get the call, they're able to distinguish between a fire call, an ambulance call, a rescue call, whatever it is. And the way you can design these things is, you don't want to wake up the entire station for an ambulance call if you've got fire guys or other stuff, right? That's the intention behind it. So it becomes specific, it alerts the specific person or personnel or apparatus or whatever that needs to be alerted, so you can. If you need an ambulance, you only wake up the ambulance crew. If you need a fire rescue, then you only are alerting the fire department. Or if you're doing both, then there's kind of like an overall, where you can alert all.
so when the crews come in, they set like, hey, I'm in bedroom 1, I'm first call, bedroom 2, I'm second call, or vice versa, and then it knows all those components.
Yeah.
It's something that every system, Corpus, Kingsville, Portland, every single one of them are operating kind of on the actually the Zetron system. And it's just something that we've been, we've never had been completely behind the times on. and going into the stations. Like, I don't know if anybody would build one without a system.
We could probably put the infrastructure in for everything. And narrow it down to a smaller chunk of that and do a smaller component. But I'm not 1000% sure on that. I'll have to look at the equipment that was quoted on that. Sparky handled that part of it for Daniel, so. I wasn't involved in that, but I do know how it interfaces with ours.
And you know, they have CAD systems or they have systems, so whenever they dispatch you, you know, like in their PD cars right now, they can open their computer and they'll see the address and they're where they're going, what the map, the directions, the whole thing. Currently, we do not have that, so that'll include that interface to where, you know, they can do all that, and then now our guys can know where they're going. They're not trying to open Google Maps and type in an address and, you know, getting somebody passenger side to send them somewhere, so. And I think also, whenever you get there, you can click, kind of like when you're en route, on scene, you know, they can tap the screen and it'll connect all that and it'll go into our reporting, automatically links into all of our patient care reporting. So it just kind of tying the one big piece together.
What's that? Is there an annual subscription to this?
On the alerting system?
Yeah,
I don't think there is.
Probably not.
There's probably gonna be some.
it's not gonna be outdated in 2 years.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Let me see if
There may be some maintenance stuff in there, but it's a closed system from what I understand, so there shouldn't be any like outside threat kind of stuff that we have to worry about. So I don't think there's a subscription to it, but there's probably gonna be a maintenance fee that you can choose to do. I mean, there's gonna be a period of warranty, usually 2 years.
yeah, there's
And
a,
then there'll be some kind of maintenance contract that you can get on if you want to.
I mean, I know y'all probably going through this, but I mean, if we're doing one thing for the PD, we need to be doing it through everyone if it's one dispatch system, right? So I don't know, obviously we're not to you yet, but I mean, makes sense, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean,
dispatch doesn't need to be doing some fancy electronic system for PD and then old school radio for EMS and fire. I mean, that's gonna get a little crazy.
yeah, I mean, and their upgraded equipment, I don't even know if y'all would carry some of the same stuff that we're, I mean, essentially right now what we have is almost like a radio with a speaker that's hardwired into it and it's sitting on a shelf. And then so when it goes off currently, you hope you're on that end of the building so you can hear it on the other end of the building. I mean, it's very, very makeshift. It's almost like the speaker that's inside your cars. That's what we have. We just got one out of the car and
So
wired
if
it
you
up. So that's what's currently.
That's the trailer mode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in trailer mode.
If you did do this, what would you do? Would you have like audible speakers in every bedroom or something? I mean, I'm just thinking like, this sounds like it's an amazing, you know, probably the Cadillac version, right?
Oh,
So
it's definitely not
if
the
you-
Cadillac, but it's. but
is it the Chevy?
it-
But do you-
What do you have in your house over here?
That's what I was saying. It's
speaker-
literally like a speaker out of a car that we.
Right.
Yeah,
Which is
it's a trailer version.
1,000 square foot building. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
asking. So like, you have to put in something, right?
But
It's
the
a
old
brand new
school, it would
building.
always be.
And
So,
they would
right.
wake
And
up
if you
the
think about it, like
instructors.
the speaker in the car right now, I mean, you're looking at, that's almost what, a $7,000 setup when you do
Yeah.
the whole thing. So if you had 14 rooms plus the downstairs, plus the office and the treatment room and the, you know, this training room and then both the bays. I mean, you're still up there. I mean,
They don't get alerted on the radio. No.
yeah, there's a radio, but if you're trying to sleep, you don't want to have the radio where it's just constantly running traffic and
Oh.
everything as well.
It's kind of nice that you're gonna be able to separate it.
You can't
EMS
program to
from
haunt
fire.
a certain person.
It will, I mean, that's.
No, like their radio.
No,
Okay.
yeah,
No, that's not a-
that's, no, because if you've ever been in a room with all these guys at the same time,
They all.
everybody gets the same thing. Yeah.
No, but the software should.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
If you're first team and you log in, I'm first team and I hit the button or say something,
that's what this
it
does.
should,
That's what the station
Oh.
learning stuff does.
they just don't do it with the radio.
And you know, there's ways, and I haven't looked, we just got this, so I haven't looked into it majorly, but
Okay.
you know, there's a lot of ways where you're, nowadays they want it to where it, you know, it's the lights come on in the room, you know, gradually, and they're not just straight white lights. And then the same thing with the tones, you know, the tones can start off softer and then they go louder and then, and you know, certain rooms. And so there's things to where it's,
That might be the.
And your
Cadillac
pillow
version.
massages you?
yeah,
We can.
then maybe you don't want to bite a bullet after 5 years, you know, I mean, there's just those things where it's just like,
Yeah.
you know, it's just it's where the standard's going, it's where the practice is. And, you know, just because we did things one way for a long time doesn't mean it's the right way.
Well, we
First
have to
time they-
figure out something before you get in there.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Are there any of these companies that do this sort of thing on a subscription type service? I know we said no subscription, but like your security provider, that not the same thing, but they'll put a security system in your house for next to free. They know they're
Right.
gonna get you on the monitoring for the next 3 years. They were just talking about the things getting outdated and stuff like that. Is there,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this, though, I mean, you gotta think it's just, it's a lot of, it's a hardware. You put in a speaker and certain lights and certain switches in every single room. And it's a big place and it's a whole brand new building. And you know how it is to retrofit something. So, I mean, while the walls are open and while you're running cables, while you want to do networking at the beginning, that's why you want to do everything, try to plan for the future, not try to catch up with it. So but I don't know as far as another service that just comes in and does all that.
fire tech can come out and set you up
Mhm.
a system, charge you a little bit, and they hit us for 40,000 a year for the next however many years. So that's a thing or not. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know off this system, you pay a couple $100,000 up front, but at the same time, you might have it for the next 10, 15, 20 years. So is this something that's gonna really be a wash in the long run?
That license fee needs to go up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
So
Hey,
go back to that page. On the page again, sorry.
172.
So the next one is the new station base radios. And so these are actual, kind of like what I was just talking about, the radios that are in each car. They make one for a base station, so you'd have one like in the office, have one in the training room. So whenever it goes off, they can radio back in while they're inside the station. Or if it ever becomes an EOC in the event of a emergency or anything like that, then we'll have some radios inside the station. And the last one is the furniture and fixtures. So this is just kind of a wag right now. I'm still working on all the exact amounts for furniture, but once again, you got to outfit the entire place, 13 beds and floor desk and then office space and chairs and training rooms and training tables and TVs and, setting up the downstairs clinic and the downstairs office and then the inventory supply room and all that stuff. So I currently have one going and it's very close to this already. And I feel like there's still a ways to go on a handful of things. So, we just got to start somewhere with the furniture budget. I know last year we had 100,000, I believe, in the furniture budget. And I don't think we're going to be using any of it before. September. So I think it would be an additional 50 on top of what we roll over. And hopefully that will do it.
Okay.
And that should get us in the new station. At least limp along till the next year.
All right.
Any other questions or anything? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, David. All right, facilities.
You do that. So, mainly what we have in here for facilities is increased staffing needs. To add to Sylvia's crew of custodial staff due to these new buildings coming back online. Lot different size of the public safety building compared to that trailer they're in now. Harbor Master is much bigger than it was. They do clean that, fire EMS, et cetera. So we really need to add at least one custodian this year. We're thinking just one this year, and then when rec center comes on, they're gonna need their own separate staff. And maintenance. So we brought on a full-time maintenance position 2 years ago. We really would like to bring on another to assist with maintenance on all buildings. So then we'd have two.
So they can do all the
maintenance.
rooftop stuff, all these new buildings that have all the rooftop gutters, roof systems. All the base, all the AC units up top. John can do all that, but he really needs someone up there with him. It's just too dangerous to be doing it by yourself. So that's something that we've contracted out in the past. And so we could definitely would be much better off in-house.
And is the maintenance team oversaw by Sylvia
Over,
or by
yeah,
city manager?
Sylvia.
Sylvia. Okay. Okay, any questions on the maintenance facilities? Okay. Right, fire. Adam here?
He's not here.
You're doing Adam?
I'll do his, replacement vehicle lift airbag and air system. For rescue truck and engine one, those have expired, $20,000 for those. Thermal imaging camera. Current thermal imaging cameras are no longer supported by the manufacturer, so we gotta replace those. Airbags for Gator suspension, the next two, and then open trailer suspension strengthening. The Gator rear suspension was not designed to handle the weight of the water tank, and neither was the trailer, so. I think the first was 3,500, and then the trailer's pretty small, it's only a couple grand. Air compressor for new fire station. We're looking at a stand-up 175 PSI, mainly for tires. It's about, our estimate is between 4 and 5 grand for that. And then we'd run some conduit. So that it would have two different hose reels. We also need to put one in the, on your guys' side too.
Yeah, they called me about that. They said they were either gonna just do one big one and conduit all the way over.
Yeah, I don't know if, it might be too much of a pain in the ass to get the conduit all the way over from the fire side.
It'd probably be a lot easier just about a compressor.
Yeah, it's easier just to buy another
pressure.
compressor. And then they want a Brasky door. It's a training door. See a picture of it there for training purposes. And that's all they have.
Like, do I get the breakdown?
Yeah, over and over.
Okay.
And I'll let you do it if you want to let some pin up frustration.
This will get her stronger or something.
All right. Yes.
Gas system, pretty small budget because they're just so involved in the FEMA gas system improvement. So they have a little bit in there for gas system expansion, just to get us into some new subdivisions or extending some lines. 25K for that. Then they have a Yamaha UMAX Rally golf cart that they use a whole bunch for, usually going around the in-town area, using it for gas meter reading. And then a generator,
And we do need to put in there some,
some furniture.
well, possibly a little furniture. Cause they're getting into a new building, but some, monies for we've been talking about it through this FEMA project, the new services that came on to the system post Harvey and the different things. We're still fighting with FEMA. We don't have any answers and they're not gonna give us all those answers till we're complete. That's kind of an ongoing thing. So we're gonna need to be putting some money into the budget for connections and tie-ins to the new system. And some additional meters, and that cost may end up being pretty high, but it's a remainder.
Isn't all that gonna be done before this ending of the budget cycle? So we would pay for that now?
This year? No. Before September of 25? No.
Some are going in, dude.
A lot that they're.
Yeah, some are.
On the new
Some are,
construction, not
Yeah.
Harvey FEMA, okay. How much are those running each? And then there were what, 400 or 500, 600 new construction since Harvey that we were responsible for?
I think it was a little higher than that. I think it was around 8.
Since Harvey, brand new desks.
Michael Doris is working on this number
Okay,
for us.
okay, somebody's doing it.
Mhm. And will get to me, the compilation in the budget, but we didn't have it for today.
I think. Not that we wanna have a huge amount of inventory on hand and have the expense, but. I don't want us to be in a situation where we've been previously where it takes 6 weeks to 3 months to get a new gas meter or something because you can't get a hold of them. So if there is some kind of additional inventory that, we need to have to be able to service the needs of our clients, then we need to probably put that money in.
Or you pay for your tap fee and you submit for permit.
Right, and then you don't get something for 3 months. Yeah.
We changed processes to help for the people that weren't paying their tap fees until much later in their billing process, and that was adding to a lot supposed to pay, you know, at the beginning. They weren't doing that. So we've changed some of our processes, but I think it has helped. Well, we'll continue to help.
They won't review the permit until you pay that tap fee. now.
Yeah. So
Well,
That helps because the money's there.
it helps with the money, but again, I mean,
but they weren't even, I mean, the gas department didn't even know.
Yeah, they were
They-
getting heads up late.
And so somebody was going and saying, I'm gonna pay my tap fees, I'm ready for it, my gas meter right now.
right,
And that was where the lead time was. Now they're paying for those tap fees at review stage, and so by the time it gets to where they need the meter's set.
so we're fully caught up.
I believe so.
We're still having to do the list.
We should, moving forward with new projects, we should get into that position.
Okay. If that change in process helps, then I think that's great. I just don't. Yeah, there's no need to make someone wait 3 months to get to their house because we didn't have something on hand. Okay. Good. All right, anything else on gas? Okay, Harbor?
Okay, got a pretty small list, but plumbing reroute on dock 11, $9,000. Resurface ramp parking, striping and paint curbs. We're working on a number. We should have that shortly. And the same with the bulkhead cap on dock 9. Replace pedestals on dock 1. That's 60 grand. It's 20 pedestals. Straightening finger piers throughout the marina, 20 grand. Replace dock wood throughout the marina, 15 grand. Fencing around the shop is 4 grand. Replace old light poles near dog park, that's 2 grand. New lift ladders, 12 grand. Fire boxes on docks 1 and 2, that's 12 grand. Working on the number for camera and the Wi-Fi. Portable pump out, 4,000, meters, 7,000, and a work John boat, 19,000.
I think that's a big list.
Oh,
But it's
oh,
not.
Oh, yeah, tools and equipment on the side. So
it's not
that's all
bad.
kind of small.
Yeah, it's all kind of small.
And then the tables and bar, we ordered in this budget. We
So,
added some cocktail tables to the inventory of the main pavilion, and then we have a rolling bar, and we're adding a second bar.
which
So
all
that-
can get
So that the venues can,
charged throughout the venue.
Oh, yeah,
regardless. Right, okay.
A lot of these are these repairs from Harvey and from new stuff. Is this just,
ongoing. I mean,
this just happens keeps going?
boat
Okay.
smash into stuff. I mean, it's a heavy,
Okay.
it's probably the heaviest maintenance facility we have. Nonstop.
Is the
Not
boat
environment.
utilization gonna be strictly for repairs? For the harbor master
Yeah, it's-
staff to get over there, or is this more of a marina patrol?
No, it's
Mountain.
harbor staff. It's harbor staff, you know, whether they're working with the trash, cleaning trash out with nets. Getting to areas of the marina that, you know, they just can't safely get to, or where they need a guy hanging over the side working on, because a lot of the components are underneath.
Right,
And you have to be able to get them to get, you know, if it's a broken water line,
yeah,
you know,
You need all of
yeah, you need a boat.
sure, makes sense.
And it's something that we could also, that Public Works can also use over in Island Moorings, cleaning out oyster shells out of the drain line, so we'll have multiple uses for it.
And any of these things, David, that they need now at any time, they can come to you and get them.
Yes, yeah,
Right,
if we,
so-
yeah, if this is stuff they need now, we're getting it now.
Right, okay. I just want to make sure we're not
Yeah.
delaying the repair of some dock number 9 because,
Yeah, that like that bulkhead, that's a pretty big number.
okay. So we'll have an estimate on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
those pedals. Remember they had those big breakers in those? They were expensive to replace. Are you,
The ones that go out all the time.
yeah,
We're
are
still going
are
through 'em.
y'all replacing those with something else? Or you talked about it one time, remember?
They,
Doing something different. It was like $200 to,
yeah, it's.
change it out or
It's a cheaper breaker.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones boats are like, what, 600 bucks?
Oh,
or
yeah.
Something, yeah.
On an every year, I mean, these are specifics, but on an every year, are they always spending $100,000 or 200,000
No.
just fixing things and keeping it going, if this is ongoing?
Is it 200,000?
Well, if from the budget out, we just sit there and go, look, they need $150,000 for daily repairs, replacement of all this stuff. Should it be looked at like that for us just to get money in? So if you need a new lift ladder, 4 of them for $300 I mean, I appreciate them doing the work to break this down, but whatever this total is, should we just sit there and go, hey, it's $150,000 a year. We just need to budget for them to upkeep and maintain the docks and the marina.
I guess you could do that with every department.
Well, no,
Yeah.
but
I mean, that's-
no, but then they're coming to you because we're not
This is your.
getting people to say, I need 4 $300 lift ladders.
I mean, usually there's a line item per,
For building and pier maintenance.
yeah, building and pier
Okay.
maintenance, we have a line
So
item,
this doesn't go.
but everything else we itemize.
Okay, like, you're always gonna have to keep breakers. 'cause
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
Okay, they're not
I
waiting
mean,
for
it's
us.
easy for them to come up with a list, and
Okay, all right.
the good thing about this is that you don't have your harbor master just willy-nilly buying stuff.
Correct.
There's some justifications like, hey, I need my ladders. Hey, I need this. But if there's something on there he desperately needs, I mean, we
It
find
gets
it.
done.
But we want to at least have a
Okay.
list to go off
Okay.
of.
All right.
Check out those light poles, Ray.
We need to get the bird approved.
Library.
Dog.
How was the event last weekend?
The make music
Yeah.
turned out really good.
Good.
I was kind of worried we were gonna have people show up, but we had a
You
great
were very
turnout for
worried.
every single session, so
Good.
it was really good. And then we gave away door prizes. The kids love it. The parents got involved. I can't say who our attendees are, but if an attendee wants to say that they attended.
Was it fun,
and had a
moms?
good time.
Did your children love it?
Same one.
Yeah.
I was tired. The second.
No, he just showed up.
There was like.
He was covered, he was covered
who?
in sweat.
Round circle.
Just a gentleman
Really?
who participated.
Well, you had good advertising, so he was hoping it was.
One,
Make my
so-
day.
I mean, he was into it though. I thought he was the guy's helper.
But he was loud.
He was just a participant.
I'm glad it was.
It was a great turnout, a great time.
Drum circle at Old Town Square.
What was it?
Pick up, drum circle at Old
Yeah.
Town Square.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have 2 requests, and it's like renovation. The back door, whenever we open the back door and the winds have picked up, it just goes crazy. And I'm scared somebody's gonna get hurt, so we do need to figure out a way to break the.
Do a little L with a little roof coming down
Oh,
so that it's open towards the parking lot, but protected on the north and east faces.
cause that's the entrance that the staff uses,
Oh,
is
sure.
that door.
Just a
Because
little-
that's where the parking is. And then additionally, we need a little covering for the drop box. Again, with the wind and the rain, we're having to withdraw books every time it rains from the drop box, so.
Yeah, driving rain kind of can get into some of the cracks. So
That
again,
could ruin
another
books.
little,
Just a covering
Little
on
roof
that
cover.
one. Mhm.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's easy, Stephanie.
Yeah.
thank you, you get a gold star,
My
Stephanie.
building's still.
Dude, that's right.
I mean, in a few years, I'm gonna be hitting on.
Okay.
For all of these years, I really didn't ask for anything.
She's coming back. Okay. Okay. Community court.
So the municipal court staff, they have 2 court clerks at this point, and those ladies have done a really good job of compiling data to sell their case on the need for another court clerk. If you look at page 303 of 396, there's a graph of court cases filed and how it's progressed through the years. And they were up to in 2024, 6,622 cases filed with our court. They also did a survey around the state that's on page 307 of how many cases are filed.
Your page
Yeah.
numbers are different.
Okay, 30 of 117. Oh, mine is different because I took the bad, I'm sorry, I took the bad
26 and
packet.
27 and 28.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
just keep
Go
following
ahead,
along
follow
with
it.
your.
We'll
Yeah,
follow you.
it's the last page before the nature preserve
Darla, what
tab.
is is it a lot of golf cart stuff? Is it beach parking tickets?
It's a lot of everything. Beach, golf cart tickets,
Oh,
I
wow.
think have gone down. I'd have to pull up some reports by what they have, but it is a lot of beach parking permit tickets.
Because since we started the full-time beach people.
Since we started the full-time beach
I
people,
mean, that's 2022, isn't it?
2022, yes.
So that's the big,
Mhm. That's a big reason for
that's
their
when
job.
Alex started on the beach, wasn't it?
Well, we had two then, we only have one now, but
Yeah.
we had two in that fiscal year,
I think
that
she
year of
buys more tickets than
2022.
Alex.
Oh, yeah, she does about 400 a month.
Yeah, she does pretty good.
Our court cases filed tickets and citations, the 66, 22.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
a ticket, a beach, no
Is a-
beach parking
is
ticket
a
would be in that
Court
number.
case filed. And then you go to page 27. And it shows a little over 3,000 payments received. Does that mean that 50% of them are being dismissed? 6622 are court cases or citations written in 2024.
No, I think that's payments that they physically are dealing with. People can pay online too and different things. I did not do this annual workflow, but they literally logged that may be mail-in payments that came to them.
Okay.
But yes, a large amount of people do not pay their tickets. That's why you proactively have to collect. To proactively collect, that means you're sending a lot more letters, a lot more emails, you're doing a lot more things that take clerk time. And our collections should improve with another person too. We are meeting next week also with a company that does collections. We use something called Omni now, which is with the state. And we turn into Omni pretty quickly, people that have not paid their tickets and they cannot get their driver's license until they pay their ticket. But that can take several years because when your license renewed, you know, you've got a big long gap in there, especially depending on your age. When
But-
you're real young, you've got longer.
I'll ask you this.
Um,
Yes, if you commit a moving violation or infraction or whatever it is, police department writes you a ticket, you don't pay your ticket, you can't get your driver's license. If you get a no beach parking permit, it's
you
not the
can
same,
get, not the same.
because
Not
that
the
goes
same at all.
onto the golf cart or the vehicle or whatever, not
Right.
necessarily. your
It's not a
driver's
moving violation. Only moving violations are that way.
license.
And it's hard to collect now.
So that may be part of the number that you're talking about, Dale, if that's correct.
And that is true. There's a lot of beach parking permits that do go unpaid. But with that being said, a lot of people will pay that ticket very quickly.
And it's QR code, you can pay it real quickly.
You can. There's a QR code on the ticket now, and there's on our website, you can pay online.
Or you can slip it through the little hole, because every Monday morning you come in here, or you come in here on the weekends like I do. There's so many people that are shoving their money in the little hole.
Yeah. That's mainly utilities.
I know, but
but,
it cracks me up. I'm
I
like,
know.
oh my God, look how many people paid their bills this week,
Mhm,
shoving it
mhm.
in the hole. We should get a kiosk. I think we need to get, like, when we get all fancy, we need to have a kiosk that literally, you can walk up to and pay any of your fines. Beach parking permit, pay your
Yeah.
gas bill, pay your, and Don't have to come in and see
Yeah,
about
I leave. You know,
You,
it's-
David, you don't have to sit behind the desk and collect fines or
It's like
tickets.
anti-ID.
I know.
You can tie it into the argument.
Well, it's just exactly.
The problem is IT gets,
Right,
it gets
yeah.
expensive. I know, and they're
Darling,
not
we're the
cheap.
last of the holdouts.
I know, they're just expensive,
Okay, well,
but
These days, we don't have all these big ticket items.
I mean, you
they're
do,
not as expensive
a
as
kiosk,
a
a kiosk you
It sits there
can,
and manually enters all that stuff, so.
a kiosk you can do it on the weekends and that kind of thing, but
Or in general.
with our staff, we only have 2 up front that take money anyway. I don't think we could reduce staff with the kiosk. But
Pay online.
they can't pay online.
That's an option.
They can pay online now.
Yep.
We can draft now.
Oh,
We do ACH
yeah,
drafts,
QR
they
code
can
too,
pay
yeah.
online. Yeah, we have pay online access for everything except golf carts, because golf carts, we gotta physically check that driver's license and
And
check that
insurance,
insurance
which
and
is-
everything.
Yeah.
And that's, and
Yeah.
check to make sure that it's really a golf cart and not an ATV
Polaris
or
or-
Polaris or different things, and you'd be surprised how much that happens. There's
There's
so many that come in that are not.
When the police write a golf cart parking ticket on the beach and the golf cart and there's no driver there, they use the license plate, correct?
Yes.
And the license plate is registered with the city. And we know who the owner is. We either know their cell phone or we know their email. Why not just email the owner that the golf cart just got a ticket? on
Golf
the
carts are
beach?
easy, the majority are cars.
Cars.
Golf
Okay. 'Cause I'm
carts are
thinking,
easy
like,
because we have that
as a golf
database
cart
ourselves.
person, I've got the paperwork of who rented it. I got their driver's license. I can tell you, okay, this person is the person and their driver's license.
Get license plates typically by.
Yeah, golf carts don't get many beach parking permit violations because
Oh,
when they buy their plate,
we get them. Okay.
they
Yeah,
buy
They get
their
So
permit.
so if somebody gets a
It's usually cars.
parking car, we just sit there with it. We don't do anything with it. We can't upload it to the state, or you're saying we could.
No, you can't apply it to the state and
Okay,
freeze your
so-
license because it's not a moving violation
okay,
period.
Okay.
To get someone. Cause you can't prove, that car may be registered to you, but you may not have had it that day. It could have
Okay.
been your child. And then legally, yeah,
Okay,
legally, we can't freeze your license when you weren't the one that was physically operating the car, and it's not a moving violation, so there's a whole bunch of things there.
so when we raise the rates for parking permits, we don't know if we're ever gonna get any more money on the tickets. We hope so.
you mean, you
Okay.
think more people are gonna not pay now because we're raising the rate?
Just buy your parking permit, support the beach. Okay,
Okay, what else?
So they put, that's really their
Man,
ask. They're gonna need some
you get
furniture, but
upset when you can't collect money, Dan.
You pay your bills.
I know, that's right.
Amen.
That's good though. That's
Or
good.
don't
I'm
come
glad,
here. Or don't come here.
I'm glad you're concerned there.
It's his new Chamber of Commerce CBB campaign.
Hey, what you want?
Pay your fine. Follow the
Pay or don't
rules.
come.
Follow the rules.
Pay or don't come.
I agree, Dale. Everyone needs to pay to play. Not like they've lived here 20 years.
It
It's like
costs
a
money.
billboard with Dale's face. on
It
it.
costs money.
Pay to play.
All right.
Okay, all right. Hey, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
It's a nice week for Colleen to take off, right?
Yeah,
Well, this is her anyway.
It's all.
yeah.
this one is.
Some of-
yeah, I'll be staying here for the remainder of Parks and Rec.
But you're gonna do her too, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, they're on a family vacation. There was a wedding, and so
stuff.
yeah, first time traveling with the two
Oh,
babies. So she said it was all right. Yeah, and I have her dog, and I don't think my daughter's ever gonna let go of her.
Oh,
So it's gonna be a fight.
Joelle would like to give you a puppy too to get.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
You need
Okay,
a
we'll make a swap.
puppy. We'll fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a puppy.
Okay, so, for the nature reserve, the first thing, is this, just another golf cart, but, we specifically are looking for one that's, narrow, that can go across the boardwalks, safely. So currently, a wheel pops up on the side and if there's anyone walking on the boardwalk, because, you know, we want to get people and equipment out. Especially the new trail out, it's a mile out there, so. Yeah, so the contractors actually had this specific golf cart when they were doing the repairs. The second thing is 25,000 for invasive plant treatment and removal. So just continuing all the work that we've been doing. We had a grant this year, did a bunch of Brazilian pepper tree removal. We have a pretty big problem with this invasive grass, so we'd like to kind of work on that out there off the community park trail next year. And then hopefully some native seeding if we can get the grass to die back. Okay, the Paradise Pond driveway improvements. We have this budgeted right now. There was kind of a lot going on and we weren't. I was trying to get an electrical pole to be moved out of the driveway, and so we haven't done this yet. It is possible that in the next 3 months, we could just kind of re-asphalt the driveway and parking lot and just kind of get it done, but we just wanted to kind of think about it a little more and see kind of what would be the best situation, but there's a lot of water that pools in there, and we discussed maybe a sidewalk in so that it has more of a obvious like entrance to the park. A lot of people have expressed, you know, they try and walking to the nature reserve and it's just a little chaotic over there with, we need to meet with Juan as well.
Yes.
So, cause a lot of that property is ours that's being utilized by the restaurant at this time. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation. So anyway, maybe we can spend it by the end of this fiscal year, but otherwise I'm requesting to continue to troubleshoot this problem and carry that forward. Okay, so the next thing was, so we have the property behind the family center and there's a lot of trash blowing into it. So maybe we want to put up just a fence to collect the trash. We didn't get an estimate. If it's just like, just across that boundary, it's 725 feet, like about 1,400 around the whole property. It was just an idea. I mean, a chain link fence would trap the trash, but it just doesn't look very nice. So I don't know. We just talked about it briefly. Maybe more about that later.
Did Carla ticket them?
No, I think she got compliance within an hour or so.
Right, they went and picked it all up.
Yeah, it was
just
on
gonna be a good
Facebook and
time.
next thing.
Been over a couple of times, I think.
I have seen employees out there multiple times.
I don't know
From
why they
the-
have that dumpster over there. That-
Yeah.
or my-
Maybe something around their dumpster would be better because we don't know yet what we're gonna do with the property.
Maybe they
But
need to fence their property.
yeah, that's the other
That could
thing.
be it. Maybe except for, I mean, they've gotta have an entrance into the back parking lot, but they can easily fence their property.
Yeah, enclosure for the trash and a little fence there. We could talk with them. Okay, so basically the rest of the nature preserve stuff is grants and most of them have cost sharing. So the first one is the GLO Kepper grant for restoring the lost land at the nature preserve. We've had a contract for quite a while with the GLO. They are managing this project, so they are still working on the scope of work with the engineering firm, which has been very long. I've been bugging them, but this project's just gonna take time, but they said they're close to getting their fee schedule and scope approved with the general land office. So then they're basically just gonna move into design and permitting for that lost land. So this is just for that planning phase. So that's carry forward probably 2 years now. And then the next one is the GLO Kepper grant for the bulkhead stabilization. So that we have a contract with, and David is working with Urban to come up with a scope of work and fee schedule so that we can get an agreement with them to start the designing and permitting of that. So maybe like rock along the bottom of the bulkhead to prevent further scouring. You want anything else with that?
Nope.
That's carrying forward. It's a trend here. I am, okay. The next one is, so in January, you guys approved for us to apply for the Parks and Wildlife Department Recreational Trails Grant. So we've been chosen as we've been selected as project, so we're moving forward. It's gonna be, state funds, so this project's gonna move a little quicker, because there's no federal partner. And there was $60,000 of AEP funds for the walking path around, the community park. That's gonna be the matching funds for that, and then we're gonna be getting 241,000 from Parks and Wildlife to repair the community park trail. It was damaged during the last wildfire by the fire trucks, but that section's only 4 feet wide. So if you've ever been on and you have a stroller or like someone's on a bicycle, so we're gonna widen that to 6 feet, which is the standard of all the trails so far right now in the nature reserve. And then from the Paradise Pond Trail connection, we're gonna connect over to Port Street, so you can loop around
Yeah.
in those trails.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll be getting a
So you don't
contract with
think-
them soon.
Any of that stuff will be commenced before the end of budget, or you're just preparing to carry it forward in case something doesn't happen?
Yeah, we still don't have a contract with Parks and Wildlife,
Okay.
but it's supposed to move pretty quickly because it's only their approval that's needed.
Okay.
Now, the next project, the boating access grant with Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, we were also selected as a project. Darla and I had a conference call with them. That has a federal partner, so we gave them more details on our project, and that's going to require approval from Fish and Wildlife Service, then a contract with Parks and Wildlife. So we're requesting to carry forward that 84,000. Parks and Wildlife will be putting in 250 for the project, and that's to design and permit the entrance or the access to get the paddling over by the water tower.
Yeah.
So a driveway, parking lot, restrooms, boardwalk for the launch, that kind of thing. Yeah, and there was some pictures of some of this stuff. If you guys have any other questions, but you've heard this, most of this already. Okay, so the last thing there is we submitted to the Coastal Bend Bays and Estuaries Program, $50,000. And it's moving, this project's being recommended to be funded, so we'll know in end of July. So if we get this project, we don't have any matching requirement, it'd be 50,000 to create a master plan for the family center wetland property. So that could include some ideas you guys were talking about, you know, what property would be set aside for that, what would be used for stormwater improvements, whatever the ideas were. So that's not going to cost the city anything. And that's it. Okay, questions? Thank you. I think is Parks and Rec next?
Mhm.
Okay.
And then RDC.
Okay. Okay, so for the regular general Parks and Rec, do that first. They need to replace one of the mowers. So this is the oldest mower. They would decommission that. I think they have this half budget in RDC, half parks.
I'll move it all to RDC.
Okay, I was like, Darla, this is
Yeah.
up to her to, okay. So one mower. The park maintenance facility, so this is budgeted this year, I believe, and so again, Darla, you would determine what proportions this would be in parks, RDC, and the nature reserve, so all the grounds would be in this facility. theoretically, so, but the last thought was it would be at the community park.
Gonna mainly be RDC and Nature Preserve.
Okay.
Majority
And
RDC.
it's only in this packet once, but, okay. And then the last thing is the holiday decor for the parks and streets, so 45,000, which is what was budgeted last year. The attachment there is, the invoice from this year's, Christmas decor.
Because we hired
So-
the company to come and set it up. Okay.
Yes, yeah, so some of this, there is this, staff do some of it, but, they've been doing that the last couple of years, a contractor to,
It looked
do a little
great.
more, yeah.
It did. And I do like the new patriotic flags we have on the poles
Mm.
for 4th of July, the little banners. Instead of just flags, we have those nice 4th of July banners. In case y'all haven't seen those, they're up.
I have not noticed, I need to
They look
open my
good.
eyes when I'm driving, apparently.
Well, get you outside my office window. Drive down out, you'll see.
Yeah, okay.
Pictures this weekend.
I kind of just go cut off and.
I do too.
Did a little-
Go in there.
I
did.
Okay, so that's
They put up one more lolly.
General Parks and Rec?
Okay, all right,
Okay.
RDC.
RDC, the first thing's rec center, which David
Well, let's,
can
let's,
present.
we're,
Or no.
we're gonna jump into that. Go ahead and skip that one. then
Okay,
we'll-
do the
that
other
way we
stuff.
can do it all at once.
Okay, so then, second thing there is the restrooms for Old Town Square. So this is expected to be complete at the end of October, so rolling whatever remaining funds for those restrooms into next year's budget, which is expected to be maybe around 20% of that. Okay, so there's two trucks on the grounds crew that need to be replaced. So this would be replacing units 506 and 507. So adding to the enterprise fleet. There's the mower again. Okay, the toddler slide. So the slide broke in 2022. There was a little slide in the shallow end.
Yeah.
And so the replacement cost of that is around $7,000.
Miss,
Yeah.
miss.
Okay.
Everybody misses it.
Everybody.
And I mean, we can't,
Darla missed.
we can't buy.
I would much rather go down that than the red one.
Can
I
we
was
not-
Yeah.
I mean, I know it is halfway through summer, but that's not something we can get done even before the end of the, like. next
This
budget?
says the UV filters exceeded the budget, so it cannot be done in 2025.
Oh my gosh, it's $7,000.
So Colleen even
She
said
didn't
that.
ask me for it.
She
Oh,
hadn't asked for
I
it.
don't know. All right, well,
Yeah. Let's ask her.
um,
Go ahead and get that.
yeah.
going. We call Adam.
She even said someone had expressed
Offered.
interest in sponsoring
Yeah.
the slide.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
But-
outer slide was in the budget
Yeah,
and reparative pool slide was in at 33,000 in that one. So I think there is money in the
maybe to
budget
do it now.
for
Yeah.
let's go ahead and get that done.
I don't know how long it
They're
will
gonna
take to
grow.
come in.
They're not even, I mean, the ones in
Come from
2022,
China and it's assembled in Canada.
they're all grown.
Too big anyway.
27.
Younger siblings.
Right.
Yeah. Boston,
They have
that'd be
younger siblings.
$50,000.
I just moved the little tyke slide that was in our garage to the side of our pool. It's working great.
Yeah, the-
Uh,
All right, we'll get it.
Okay, so I put a note, maybe we can do it now. Okay.
Alright.
So contracted improvements to McDonald Field, so $12,000. This is just kind of general maintenance, adding infield conditioner prevents standing water, tilling, edging, the lip for safety, all that stuff.
New turf. I'm
Uh,
teasing.
I'm gonna bring that up in 2 seconds.
For
Okay.
McDonald Field?
No,
Oh.
no, not McDonald's.
Teasing. Okay.
all right, let me finish.
You got it.
Gets into that.
Okay, so then, we have a Restore Act grant for the fishing piers. It was initially 265,000. Colleen put in a request to add to that. So looks like we're waiting on a contract that we're gonna be getting 674,000 to do improvements to the fishing piers, add educational signage, a restroom at the Charlie's Pasture Pier, landscaping, new benches, recycle or trash bins, and other educational signage and people counters. So we're waiting on that. But there's another opportunity, the local parks grant, coming up, and Colleen is gonna be looking into this, but that's due, August 1st. It's up to $750,000, 50-50 match. So she is trying to come up with a plan to maybe use those, restore dollars as matching funds. And what she would like to do is add in maybe some of the, aquatic needs that were, removed from the rec center budget. The pump room, I think, demoing that new pump room, new equipment. So on the following page, kind of starts the rec center supporting documentation, but potentially doing some of that stuff that's in that phase 2 and applying for that and seeing what they say. So we will see. We'll have more information, but
Yeah.
if we could work that timing out and put together a good plan, maybe we can get parks to pay for that. Okay, now David's gonna take over.
Oh. Well, we're gonna
Okay.
go back 2 pages
Okay,
and Darla's gonna discuss rec center financial analysis.
So the total revenues we had to apply to the project was 15,862,000. That came from the 14.1 million of bond issue, plus we've earned interest since we've had those monies sitting in the account. And the Clarks donated the 840,000 for the naming. And total expenditures to date are just a little over 3 million. That's for design, the land purchase, et cetera, the things we have. So we have available 12.7. We're proposing to take 4 million from the Charlie's Pasture Park bond. The remaining tax anticipation note that was issued for McDonald Ball Field purchase we still have 477,000 left of that. And then we have 901,000 of park dedication fees, which gives us 18 million total available. Janak's remaining contract for architectural, which will be about 750,000. So we had 17.4 available for construction, leaving us that we need 6.5 by the contract that was approved at the last council meeting. And if you remember when we started in the morning, I was proposing about 3.2 million out of next year's hot funds. And then the same thing for the 26-27 budget year would be another 3.3 million of hot funds to construct the facility.
So you solved it.
I solved it.
We get the brick back?
That's your
Limestones.
The limestone,
Whatever,
not
yeah,
the
yeah.
brick, the
The shade,
Yeah, no, we went.
the shade on the side. So that's kind of the financial analysis of where we stand as of today. I'm sure there will be some change orders as we go along.
Oh, good, so we can add it. Just gotta find it.
Yeah, fine. Okay, so then,
Your venue tax passes, you have. No hot tax.
that's great news.
So,
When your venue.
Colleen put this together. So this is a quick overview of the rec center. Of course, the kind of neat that Robert E. Clark initials are rec, so that's going to be incorporated into the building design, which the Clark family really likes. So
Make sure you put the right one. He's not, I mean. Yeah,
what's that?
oh,
yeah. But,
He's,
because there's multiple
Multiple
Robert
Robert
E.
E.
Clarks,
Clarks.
so we need to clarify with them if Did they want to delineate that or if they?
Oh,
they
it's like
decided-
the first of the.
Right, 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 right.
All right, okay,
Mhm.
so here's our timeline. Bid opening May 25th, awarding contract was July. Groundbreaking July, late this month. Construction 20 months, but I think they could probably beat that. Staffing starts the spring of 27, and then of course ribbon cutting. So overview of some of the changes that we're gonna be looking at. So it's gonna be increased programming and office space, expanded hours and programs, staffing impacts, new positions. We got, custodial child watch staffing adjustments, updated salaries and some benefit cost, revenue enhancements. We gotta develop a membership fee schedule, facility rental schedule, possible sponsorship and naming opportunities, like maybe in the gymnasium or even in the pool, just to generate some extra funding. Anticipated cost recovery for operation and maintenance. We need to work on our membership, what kind of membership dues are we gonna be looking at? And then we'll come up with a financial summary. Updated annual overall budget and cost recovery targets and funding gap and recommended next steps. So here's the here's the layout. Those are all the different components: multi-purpose rooms, kitchen, restroom, lifeguard, staff space, storage, childcare, game room, fitness area, control desk, admin offices for public works or parks and rec and nature preserve, group exercise, gym, walking track, concession stand. Not included is the pool deck, the demo of the aquatics, like the old entry into but that's going to be a phase 2. That'll come after we're open for business, and then in 2 years we'll bring to you guys a phase 2 package, which is the demo and the prep of those outside amenities. These are some ideas of our times for aquatics, gymnasium times, and this will be brought to you guys over the next year and a half as we kind of pin this down. But this is just Colleen's rough first go at this, so this will be coming to you guys a whole bunch, so we don't have to get into it right now. But this is just some of the stuff that we have to take into consideration while we develop the programming. So fitness studio, aftercare programs, child watch, additional staffing needs. So most likely an additional recreation manager, which would be like maybe Colleen's assistant director. Front desk and customer service, we're looking at 3 full-time attendants, 3 potential part-times. Then of course additional fitness instructors, which we have a pretty good group now, but there'll be a couple more. Because we'll have the gymnasium and we'll also have the weight room area, spin room. So we'll be able to bump up our fitness instructors and what we're currently providing. Personal trainers is another one. Those are all going to be either contracted employees or part-time. And then childcare, we're looking at 4 to 5 part-time employees running, working anywhere from 20 to 25 hours a week.
What does that mean, childcare?
Well, those are potentially an employee working in the childcare room babysitting.
While they're
Like
parents
you
are
go
working
work
out.
out.
Like if you come in to work out, you have someone there watching your kids.
6
We're gonna
months to
provide
10
that?
years.
That was the concept.
Yeah.
In
we're
charge
in
for it.
charge for that?
Yeah.
She had down in the previous slide, there on the bottom right, 8 to 12 and 4 to 7. So it would not be all hours. And conceptually, she never wanted it to be all hours, but portion to where those parents knew, okay, for me to
It's a
go,
huge,
I could go work out.
it's a huge thing if really to get your numbers. Yeah,
Right, which I understand, but I mean, I
but it
think
doesn't
that's.
doesn't necessarily have to be free.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something we'll work on. These are operating costs, and I won't get into the gory details there, but it's basically, this is kind of looking at salaries and benefit, utilities, programming, supplies, equipment, insurance for the building, other operating costs. Membership fees, we got to really figure out what direction we're going to go on that. So she kind of in this chart worked on everything from free to, you know, depending on what you want to recover. So we could work on not worrying about recovering anything to 100% recovery. So that's just what you're going to be charging your membership and for drop-in. That membership includes drop-in fees for non-members that are just dropping in for the day or for a couple hours. These are just potential revenue, rental revenue streams, you know, multi-purpose room, gymnasium, you know, just things that you might rent out for a basketball tournament, aquatics, you know, swim team, pool parties. We do have the two, the multi-purpose rooms, the breakout rooms, which have a full kitchen, you know, so you could have events in those. So plenty of opportunity for rental revenue. Those are some sponsorship, just kind of everything except brick pavers. I think that's it. So, yeah. And we'll be, as we develop this, you know, we'll keep refining it and bringing it back to you guys for, you know, massaging it and getting it, developed further and further. The paper backup, I think, is all this is what the slides are based on.
Yes, the tables that were in there is in the papers, so you guys can look at that.
But and then like there's that going back to phase 2, that's like pool fencing, you know, reworking that, you know, the pool entry right now, that's going to go away. But what's going to be left is we still have to leave all the pumps and everything are staying on that side. So we got to kind of cut that building in half and then rebuild the wall. And, you know, so there's things to do that, but they will not hit until the 26-27 budget. Same with all this stuff. This stuff is all going to hit the 26-27 budget. Yeah.
So it'll be 27-28.
Oh, yeah. The only other thing I had was in Parks and Rec is that the school is wanting for us to consider entering into an interlocal lease agreement with the school for them taking over the high school baseball field that is located in the community park. You know, it'd be $1 a year lease, and they would take over all maintenance and operations of the ball field. And I think what they're you know, they want to look at potentially doing a turf field there, which, you know, we've told them that, you know, the city can't insure it. It wouldn't be a facility that we would build. Not with the inability to insure it. So that's something that's not a budget item. It's something that will come up in the next couple months, maybe, or this fall. But just so that you on your radar that, you know, they have asked us for that. I met with Sharon 2 weeks ago about it.
Because if they have an interlocal lease, then that allows them the ability to.
They could go do a bond. They could, yeah.
We've already done a bond.
Yeah.
We have the money. We're not allowed to turf our field unless y'all turf yours.
No, I understand that, but you have the money in your bond set aside to do both the softball field and the baseball field?
No.
No, just soft.
You do
But
not.
at the same time, I don't know in conversations with them, but there's a possibility, even if we get that agreement up front, that maybe we can go ahead and spend our bond money to do our field if we have that agreement as it's one field. But it may be a thing where we go back out for bond and do it all.
And do additional, or you could
Yeah,
ask
she
for
had said
donations
that-
or
But
something,
we've been sitting on, you know, taxpayers approve
Right.
this and that's what they wanted.
right,
And so it's figuring there, I think.
thank you.
It's been a while, I remember.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and we're kind of at a standstill with it. We can't do anything unless y'all do it, unless we come up with another solution. I think.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I'm 100% in favor of that, so at least at that part, if their bond can get moved forward, if that's the case, you know. I mean, they're utilizing it now, of course,
Yeah,
we're doing
yeah.
the maintenance, but I mean. So
Yeah, and Colleen doesn't have any heart problems.
Right.
She's like, fine.
So what's the insurance issue? They turf it, we can't insure it?
Well, no. If we spent, you know, $2.5 million building a turf field, it's uninsurable.
And no.
But if they spend it, it's It's on them if something goes wrong. But that's, so we still have our general liability on the property. It's just, but if storm comes through and messes up the turf, when that's, they're.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, the issue is that it's at like BFE 4.5. You'd have to get it up 10 feet to be above BFE there. Yeah, we've checked with our insurer, they said no.
Somebody breaks their leg, walking from getting a hot dog, they're fine. I mean, we're fine, but it's.
Yeah.
If the property itself gets damaged, it's something.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Ray or?
Thank you, Ray.
I would like to talk about the Red Center a little more.
Yeah.
And I talked to Bill about this a little bit the other day, just some of those things that we're deleting, I really don't want to see deleted, you know? That they recommended us delete.
Some of the value engineering
Some
items?
valued engineering items, yes,
Okay.
that I'm not in favor of deleting.
Okay,
The size of the canopies of the entrances. Yeah, it's 150,000, but I think that's an important thing to have.
shade.
We need the shade and then we get these little rainstorms, have a little bit of shelter from that.
Yeah.
I was wondering about omitting the grease trap from the concession. I don't understand why we're doing that.
Well, actually, it was more oversight because, it's not required by the water district. If it's not a triple sink, and you're cooking at a certain level of grease and stuff, but according to Scott Mack, he said, if we're just steaming hot dogs in a crock pot,
You gotta have.
we don't need it. So I mean, really, it wasn't
We
needed.
don't need that.
Don't need it.
Okay. The hardy plank setting up the pool equipment room, I think we should keep that in. And I'm definitely not in favor of doing away with the stone veneer finish.
It's 500.
So when it wasn't a veneer, it was like using limestone instead of a stucco.
Yes. No, that was $70,000, I think they
So I was only 7.
Plus it's on here.
That must have been something
Stucco
else.
was only 70 grand.
That, I can't even imagine that's accurate. No, I mean, I believe what you're saying, but I mean,
Where's that the net change from? Except the
I
net
think
change
that
of removing
just the-
stone, but you're still gonna put plaster up?
Yes, I think that's what they meant. It's a $70,000 savings.
Yeah, it's just the
To
same.
not have. No. And
Stone is much nicer.
well, stone is gonna look good in 20 years, stucco is not.
What was the Hardy's value,
But it's
the Hardy panel value?
9,500.
So we do have about $900,000 of built-in contingency on that project.
So you just want to go back to the 24, whatever it was in the beginning?
no.
Just was add in,
This is 237,000.
They're,
Added back in.
the value
Out of the
engineering
million
is
that
open.
they took off. So there's still 700,000 less or 770.
I got you.
Canopies, stone versus stucco.
Thought we left the
In the heart.
canopies in.
no,
Made it shorter. I know, but I thought we brought. them in.
Canopies, the hardy plank and the stone.
no, there's,
Besides the stuff that's
I was wrong, Joanne.
Yeah.
I had thought we had left it in. And I
I
was
thought we did
incorrect,
too.
and then I said, all right, you're right, I forgot,
Ah,
so. But like I was saying, we have about 850,000 in contingency. And as long as we can keep, Fulton from a bunch of change orders, which, they're really not known for that. I think you could probably pretty safely add that back in, it'd still be on the budget that you approved. 2 weeks ago.
What would be I mean, obviously, we'll know more as the project progresses, like the timing on that. We have until January 2026 to make the decision.
Well, I think they need to order steel, so I think I would need to bring it back to you guys for a change order
For the canopy.
at the July meeting. These 3 ideas.
Did you already sign the contract with them?
No, I've not signed the contract yet.
So can you not amend it now?
Yeah, I
Or you signed
could,
the contract?
yeah. Except it's not, it hasn't
It's
been.
coming to prove
yeah.
they are.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not a.
But it's over 50,000 legally, you have to.
yeah, I mean, we're 2 weeks away from our council meeting.
Yeah.
I'll just bring it back
Not
and you guys
long.
can approve it,
Okay.
and get it in time and it won't delay anything. Does that sound reasonable? Okay.
Okay, anything else?
Somebody open CrossFit studio and they're in charge then.
Chief.
Pay for their lunch done.
Yeah, good. All right.
Oh, I apologize. I noticed yesterday that I gave you the wrong copies of some of this in the packet, so I've made some.
Ooh,
Oh, it's gotten cheaper.
let's.
Oh, here, come over and stand on this trap door.
Spend more time in the library.
It just
Yeah.
includes the cost of some of these things that I'm asking for. I had not worked out, when I wrote the majority of the stuff, I hadn't pressed down the dollar amount yet, so this is just.
It's like a kid changing his Christmas slip on
Updating the.
Christmas. Oh, Santa, I also wanted this.
Well, I didn't stop telling you how much it is.
Well, that's nice.
Well, we'll see if you agree with how much I said it was,
Now
that
there
I
you
put in
go.
here.
Uh-oh.
I think we should be pretty
close.
Are these going around too?
Yes.
Oh, he just left it.
No,
I did
Not
that.
close.
not close.
He's way over
Two
it.
different.
No, he's
things.
way under.
Yeah.
Oh, he's under?
Yeah, he's got the range for new officers between 66 and 70.
Well, because.
Hey,
that
not
doesn't-
me,
that doesn't
but you
include
don't
Fred.
have benefits.
Right.
It's 101,307
And I put that in there, because it depends on their qualification level.
Was there a 2-pager on this?
The cheapest you can get is 101,300.
That's what it was, start off. The 1 year.
Oh, we're missing.
So maybe
No.
is
Uh,
this your?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, that's stuff in. there.
Yeah, it'd be one, basically.
I think.
That's what we have. Previous thing. No. Previous on.
Yep, those are the updates. Let's see. I have on mine, the big first one is additional police officer position, the first. I think on mine.
Is that what you're starting with?
Yeah, because I think that's what's in the packet, yeah. So we broke it down for the 3 positions that we're asking for. This year is gonna be a patrol sergeant position, training coordinating position, and a patrol officer position. So the way we would do this is, well, and you can see here, we have 4 shifts, 3 sergeants at this point, so this would just be, rounding that out to where all the shifts would have proper supervision. The training coordinator position is, we have a new TCOL director. Greg Stevens with Rockport, the chief of police in Rockport. He left Rockport and is now the head of TCOL, the governing agency for law enforcement. And so he's making a lot of changes to the way we do business. They're all good changes. It's stuff that we've been trying to get on the books for quite a long time. And one of them is that we need a full-time training coordinator position. It doesn't necessarily mean that that person is going to fill that role during the whole time. We envision this position being kind of like we do with Officer Boyer with the school resource. During the peak times, he works as a regular patrol officer, and then whenever we have our slower times, then we roll him into training. But part of that is that we have to report hours and the way we do stuff and the way we keep records to TCOL, or else we can lose licenses and have officers suspended and stuff like that. So that kind of administrative stuff will be done year round, but it's not enough to be a full-time position. And then the additional patrol officer would round out all the shifts where we'd have even numbers on each shift. And the idea behind it is we would promote from within for the sergeant and training coordinator and just backfill 3 police officer positions there. And there's the,
So the training coordinator position
Mhm.
potentially earns the same or more.
Correct.
than just a patrolman.
Yeah, there would be no change in pay for him
Okay.
or anything. It would just be other duties as assigned. That little catch-all that we
But
get.
that's almost a mandate, chief?
It is, you're required to have a training coordinator right
Mhm.
now. And we have,
Someone designated?
we kind of did.
Okay.
So T-Cole's, the way T-Cole looks at it is when you have an administrative change, they come in and they'll do an audit for you and give you an opportunity and a window to correct any deficiencies that you have. Before they take any kind of action. Because of all of the changes that have come in, they haven't been able to schedule that with me yet. So I've been working with our local rep, T-Cole rep, and with Director Stevens. We're trying to get something on the books in August, but the preliminary review that we've done, we haven't kept the records appropriately. So we're looking at updating our methods and making sure that we've got everything done. But we're not in any jeopardy of any kind of disciplinary action at this point. Because they give you the opportunity. You don't pay for the sins of your father kind of mentality is what they go by. So we will have ample opportunity to correct this, but this position is something that we need to definitely address.
And Darla, you're saying that base range for new officers is not 65 to 77, it's more 101.
101, 307 is a base one officer.
What benefits?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Cost to the city.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Next.
And then I think the next one here is the parking enforcement position. We've had that as a part-time position for several years. When we initially did that one, the idea of it was to always kind of grow that into a full-time position eventually to where we could expand the duties of that person. If we did that now, we could get them certified as a code enforcement officer, which would expand their ability to enforce more regulations down on the beach. They could do the beach parking permits, they could do RV parking, they could do 3-day camping, they could do, all kinds of that stuff there. If we had other areas in the city that we needed to, shift them to, we talked about doing the red striping, that was gonna fall under their purview at some point, possibly. So, I mean, I think we have enough work now for that to become a full-time position.
Okay, and is that somebody that you would move from somebody within or seek elsewhere?
I think that we would have a couple of interested people from within the city. And if we didn't find anybody within, then we could advertise outside.
So that seems a little cheaper, 47 to 50.
And that's also without any benefits. I
That's
just
without
went off of I did that on the first 3 steps off the pay scale for code enforcement.
Just have it
Official.
not stick. 18.
Yeah, we still don't really have a true city parking ordinance. We've got the beach stuff, but we don't have. In the city itself, we don't really have designated no parking areas.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we have some.
There's rules. I mean,
You mean like on streets?
Yeah, like, I know you're not supposed to park 15 feet from a corner and.
Oh, no, we have that. Yeah, that's all.
It's,
Most of that's state law.
yeah, most of it's state law, so.
an additional. you mean,
An
like
additional.
We have sidewalks is.
Yeah, we
state law.
have some streets like I think 11th Street and some of those you can't. Yeah, you can't park off, on the side of the street there and things by ordinance. But I mean,
Opening up another can of worms for another time.
There you go.
Potential revenue generator.
It'll be the first time.
We got 2 hours left here. I won't mess it up.
Yeah.
What did you end up?
This person. When you say code enforcement, are you also talking about your code stuff?
I think, they would work coding and done a little bit, but
sure.
I think that they could just, there's so much on the beach to do and then in town.
I mean, you already have your code enforcement officer who does a great job at the beach writing tickets.
She is an official. She is not a code enforcement officer. So they're limited in the scope of what they can do.
Okay,
Right.
so
They
she
have
can
to be-
write
beach parking
Beach
permits
parking
is about the extent of what she can.
But if,
Couldn't run like, beer bottle.
Yeah,
Glass on beach.
but this person could
Off
then,
leash.
in fact, go do the same thing, make the rounds at the beach, but then also come in town and give someone a ticket for parking illegally in front of a fire hydrant
or tall grass or,
Yeah.
yeah, any of that stuff. Correct,
And they're licensed, right?
correct.
It's about 71,200.
71K, 200.
Yes, 71,200.
Okay. All right.
Then this one is, the next one I have on the list here is a vehicle for my technology guy, Sparky. He's kind of having to run all over the place and do stuff in his personal vehicle, and I don't particularly like him jumping into a marked patrol car that's not in use, running around to different facilities to do things. We think we have a solution, at least a temporary solution for the next couple of years. Lieutenant Hannon has inherited a civilian model Tahoe that we had. And it's not really designed for police work. So we're thinking we could repurpose that to Sparky until the end of the life of that vehicle. And then if we wanted to replace it at that time, we could look at leasing something smaller than a Tahoe for him. If we want to go this route, then we would add another vehicle to the fleet this coming budget cycle so that we would get a true police package vehicle to outfit for Lieutenant Hannon.
Something similar to,
A regular patrol vehicle that we would use, yeah, like a Tahoe. The problem with the civilian models is they don't have the capability of having the auxiliary equipment on there. Right now, whenever he's parked on a scene with his lights going, after what, about
20 minutes.
yeah, it shuts everything off, and he's got to constantly run back to the car, and it's just not designed to take it. The police package vehicles have an auxiliary battery on them. They have a little bit bigger alternator. They're wired to handle that kind of stuff. So we think repurposing that vehicle to Sparky would be a good thing at this point.
and what's the cost of that?
If we did that, I think it would be around, I think we get about 55 base price for the Tahoes.
We'd be doing it at the lease.
Yeah.
Right.
At least it'd probably be about 1,500 a month, I think.
I think it was a little, I looked at what we did for when we just did the ones for the Tahoes, what in May, I think it was like 2,500, 2,200, I think a month on the lease. But I think the base price cost on the Tahoe before equipment was like 55.
What year is that one?
24, yeah. So it's still relatively new.
Where was,
gonna
where did that
last
vehicle
long.
come from?
That was Burroughs.
So he didn't have a fleet package on his?
Nope. The lead time on it was longer, so they had a civilian model on the lot, and he took that instead of the waiting for a police package. So that would be the recommendation there. And then the last one we have there is the fleet replacement. And I put the cost in there like I said, based on what we did in, I think it was May. So 3 vehicles, we would retire 3 vehicles out of our fleet and replace them with 3 vehicles. If we decide to do the 1 vehicle for Sparky, then we would add probably another 55,000 to that at the base cost. I didn't hear back from, I sent an email to Fleet Safety to get a kind of a monthly payment breakdown for that, and I didn't hear back from them before this meeting, so
Purchase or additional lease?
it would be an additional lease.
And our lease, as we turn in vehicles and we sell them, we can offset the lease cost with the sale price of our vehicles. We're
Yeah.
just now starting to sell some fleet, so
Yeah,
the
and
price you were given for those leases was all in without an offset of a sale.
That's correct.
Little residual.
And I think we're gonna do better than their projected residual.
I think so too.
They just were very, since we don't have a history, they were very conservative.
Yeah.
David, I looked at that.
Mhm. And that's all we have this year.
Seems light.
Well, I don't, I
No,
don't
it's a
have,
new
I
building.
don't have a new building to have to worry about this year,
No.
so. I've got most of that already laid out and
The light at the end of the tunnel.
getting one step closer every day.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Thank you, sir. Public Works.
Do them.
I got it. Okay,
Beginning.
so the first 4 items are for the new building. Cabling, network, data, cameras, and of course, we're gonna work on getting those cameras down in cost. And then the new telephone system, so that's the first 4 items. New employees, Doug is requesting 2 on the beach, a new just a regular beach employee. It's kind of a catch-all, and then an additional equipment operator on the beach. On the street side, we got the new Vector truck that'll be here shortly. And unless we want it to be like the street sweeper, we really need a designated crew. This is something that's year-round maintenance, and you just got to have the proper personnel working it. It's a pretty technical piece of equipment. And right now the street crew is just too small to also have this and be trained and ready to go on it and operate it successfully to where it's, doing the maintenance that we want to do and keeping the lines clean. So there's 2 employees on that one. And then also an additional equipment operator position to take on the street foreman. Yeah.
And equipment operators are 74,850 and your laborers at 61,416.
Big vacuum.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We want to replace the
Ordered it a long time
the
ago.
diesel tank out at the landfill at the collection station.
And we're probably gonna need about 15,000 in addition to that for a pump system like
Yeah.
we have here on our unleaded, now, we moved it. That logs our fuel versus the paper system we've been using. See, I like technology.
Yeah. On some.
The diesel. We might, we definitely probably want to move the fuel over there. We're looking into it. See if we have the space. We're kind of limited, but we are looking at where to put it. Public Works, also on the beach, a new maintainer replaces unit 471, so that's your big motor grader.
That's the one who I got line last week.
Yes, it is. Replacement of unit 444. Got a pickup, that's a pickup.
I'm gonna have to look up what 444 is. I don't know, you didn't have dollar amount in there. Painting of the heavy equipment.
Painting of heavy equipment, so every year we usually take 2 of our heavy equipment pieces, like either a front end loader, a backhoe, or a motor grader, and we send them into Corpus to this operation called Stagecoach. Coach
A wheel
Works.
coat,
Work.
yeah.
And so they blast everything down, and we've really found it pays for itself, and we get a couple extra years out of the equipment. So every year we usually do 2 of them.
Yeah.
Oh, the garbage truck is suffering from a lot of rust and decay on the floor of the garbage truck and in the back bed. So we're gonna send that off and have it refurbished. That's 70K. Stand on compact loader, that's for the beach. 50K.
Pretty cool looking the picture of it.
Yeah, it's mainly it's gonna help with cleaning the beach entries a lot better, because right now we struggle with not having the correct piece of equipment to clean those and get all the sand and keep the sidewalks clear and the gutters clear.
So this piece of equipment would help us clean those sidewalks.
Yes, it has like a brush attachment also to it. So
This.
we could do both. We could also use it up against the the Charlie's Pasture bulkhead
Yes.
wall.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, yes. And then the tracks are, the tracks on that are non-marking.
Right.
So it doesn't leave black marks on
Give
it.
about one of those now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool
Dave
piece of
can buy
equipment.
anything he wants because it's under 50,000.
know,
He doesn't
that's
have
what
to
I'm
ask there. He wanted to,
I think we need one
he can
now.
have it out there tomorrow.
Get it.
35K for refurbishing the rusted street sweeper. And then 93 K for a King Ranch tractor. For mowing and cleaning streets and sidewalks, highways. And it comes with a loader bucket. I don't know if we have a picture of that, but.
And a rotary broom.
Yeah, it comes with a loader bucket and a broom.
I think he's got the cost in there, but not.
No
the bid.
picture. And then I think then towards the end, yeah, those are trucks, 458 and 460 replacements. And then some additional Skiddo cans and trash cans to get us up to that number that we were trying to hit last year. We need 25 more trash cans, 13 more Skiddo cans. And then the 120K, that's our annual mulching of the brush pile.
Which that would be under the sanitation fund.
And you could eliminate that if we started charging for green waste,
Started for what?
charging for green waste disposal.
Oh.
And you'd have a whole bunch of people in here.
Well, see in a lot of other places that we don't see this.
Or yeah, you'd start seeing it dumped in.
So, yeah, anyway. Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions for Doug's list? That was the big one.
Does,
That was-
do the Skiddo cans and trash cans, is that beach fund?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's beach.
All right, surf rescue? It says Parks and Rec, so does that mean Ray? Oh, yes, it does. Look.
Well, this is because, Joey, the surf rescue manager, I think his wife just had a baby, maybe 2 days ago.
Huh?
So anyhow, here I am again. Um, okay, so the surf rescue, team is requesting 2 new UTVs. So they have, 2 Polarises that are needing to be decommissioned that were not commercial grade. So they would be buying a better quality one that would hopefully last a lot longer. And these have are able to basically shuttling the guards to all the stands. They have, I guess, I don't know how many people they fit, but so that's the first thing. So replacing those 2. And then, so the second one is adding 2 new towers. So right now there's 6 towers on the beach. A 7th one is being built right now. That's in this fiscal year. And so they'd like to bump it up to 9 towers on the beach. So that would go to mile markers 15 and 18. So the whole bollarded area.
And all the towers are under the new wayfinding
Paint
Yes.
scheme.
paint
Yep.
scheme. They look good, yeah.
Yeah.
Couple you just-
Yeah. I don't know.
What?
What's that? Yeah. I don't know- I don't
That's
know.
all right. I
don't know
bet
if
you
this
can
was
find
planned or
that
not.
out. Jellyfish.
Yeah, so that, oh gosh, no, I think we were steering away from venomous
Shark and
things.
jellyfish, yeah.
Venomous and TV.
Yeah, friendly ocean creatures.
Yeah.
you go, friendly one.
Octopus.
So they need 10 radios, and I think that they did work with
Sparks.
Sparky on that to come up with what they need, the specific type of radio. They are requesting 2 vehicles for the surf rescue manager and the head guard. And then these would also be used for moving people to the beach every day.
How come theirs look cheap?
Yeah,
That's,
I'm looking
that's
at
the
old
lease of,
lease price.
Theirs are cheaper, the SUVs are cheaper than the PD SUV. That's the least cost.
For both.
for
Okay, I'm
two.
just making sure that they
Mhm.
were thinking.
They don't have to be outfitted the same.
Oh, yeah.
No. and I
No, they
understand
don't.
that, But still, I didn't know you could get any kind of vehicle for 25 grand.
No, that's a
For two.
lease for two.
For two.
For 1 year.
I'm gonna get stuck at the beach.
And then the surf rescue facility, again, being budgeted for I assume that's what's budgeted this year. The $1 million is getting
Yeah.
carried forward.
Mhm.
This is a million, it was 1.5.
Well,
Might be higher than one. She put one.
okay. I didn't, yeah, Joey put this together.
It's low.
Um,
It's supposed to be, it's
Just
almost like a
metric.
gas station, it's like. I think we put 1.5 in there and it ends up being 1.8,
We have 1.4 in there. Right.
1.4,
1.4.
okay.
And it
so-
probably will be
1.8.
higher than that.
We need to
So we're
fix
gonna
that.
need more than 1.4 in there.
Okay. Okay, so then they have quite a few staffing requests. So they would like to increase 40 part-time guards. There's currently 30. To help with mostly for summer, spring break for the it says 10 towers. Well, either way. So they would have 2 people at each tower at all times. Okay, so then the next one is the chief position. So this is potentially a grade, I think, a grade increase and also a new title. So changing the surf rescue manager name to chief. And then that would kind of be more in line with other first responder organizations.
So a name change gives you 6 more pay grades just because we changed the title?
I don't know those
It's
details.
an 18%. It's an 18% increase.
Okay.
And I can say, well, you speak, but internally, we'd be
It's
looking
a
at
wish list.
our
Sorry.
rest of our
But
pay grade.
Okay, so the next one is a new position. So this would be kind of like an assistant manager. The title would be captain. And they would help oversee the training, the head guards that are suggested to be changed to lieutenants, and help with the admin work and all the operations throughout the year. So then there are now 4 head guards. So they would be, I'm assuming that this is a grade change and then the title. Is that right? Change from 16
Yes,
to
from
19?
16 to 19.
So they would be all year long. So they've been doing patrolling in the off season. So they would continue that, patrolling, not, right now, all the stands are, covered, spring break and then, Memorial Day to Labor Day kind of thing. So these guys are patrolling the beach, all year round and then helping with all the stuff to get geared up for the summer, or guys and gals. Okay, and then, so then new positions would be adding 2 full-time beach guards. So actually, those are 2 new positions to also help with the summer, the off-season patrolling.
Yeah, that's year round, right?
Yeah. So 3, I think, 3 new full-time and then 5, I think, more part-time guards is kind of the,
No, 3 more full-time. So right now they have 5 full-time year-round
yeah.
guards.
So
1
they'd be
surf
going to
rescue
8.
manager, 4 head guards. So they're asking to keep those 5 and add 3 more. So to
Yeah.
go from 5 to 8 year-round full-time people.
And then.
And then all the changes.
Part-time
Oh, yeah. he
from
said
30 to 40.
30 to 40.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna quantify all this for us in some dollar numbers?
and then how many towers do they
It's a
run
lot.
in the wintertime? Will they run all 10 towers?
They don't run towers
They
in the winter.
patrol.
Okay, they patrol.
They drive up and down the beach.
Look, probably, if there's a lot of people swimming in an area, they would focus on that area.
Okay.
So then, yeah, the supplemental information is just sharing that, and I think there's some other examples of other structures of surf rescue departments at the bottom.
Any other questions regarding surf rescue? All right, thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
The sanitation?
Oh. Did I say after that?
Might as well, because you're the one that knows what that is.
Oh, you.
Okay, so I didn't print it out. This is too small, but looks like I can still read it.
Here.
We have it. So we.
Want this?
You can just. Colleen and I, we're talking with this, consultant that's been helping us with some stuff about, the idea of a biochar unit at our dump. So biochar is, sold commercially. It's a product that you can mix into your soil, to add, water retention, help, trap pollutants. It's just a really good additive for, you know, just soil and gardens and this kind of thing. It's also used in wastewater treatment plants and constructed wetlands and vegetative strips, you know, on the side of maybe you'd picture like a parking lot. It would help trap pollutants, and it kind of adheres to it. So she works, this woman we've been talking to, that she works with a woman that owns this company that put this together, Bioenergy Solutions, and they have a mobile biochar unit. It's a pyrolysis unit. So this is kind of complicated, but basically the bottom line of this is she was estimating about $60,000 that they would bring this mobile unit here and be able to take the mulch pile and convert it into something that's usable, and we wouldn't have to haul it away to a landfill, which is what's happening right now. So we'd be taking all of that organic matter and converting it into something that we could use, we could sell to residents. They would even maybe potentially package it and sell it, because that's what they do with some of the products of the projects they have. Like she was telling us about this project where she's working with all these dairy farmers in California, and they're taking all the manure and converting it to biochar, and then they're powering a data center with the energy it's producing. So some of these units are paired with something that's creating energy that you could use to power, you know, equipment or buildings, you know, so that's kind of out of the scope of our project. We're just we're looking at innovative solutions for the mulch pile. The other reason we were interested in this is because we were thinking about the fish cleaning stations, and if there was something we could do with that material, because it's really smelly at the converting center. Basically, this was my interest. But also preventing all that waste, you know, all this organic matter could be converted into something that's usable, and we don't have to truck it away to wherever it goes. I don't know where it goes, but so might not be the, you know, the year to do this, or I don't know, but it's an idea of something that we could do. We even, and it's heating it, but it's not creating a bunch of exhaust. It's not like an open, you know, fire pit of and creating a lot of air pollution. It's kind of all self-contained. There are units that you could even buy. Colleen and I had kind of tried to contact someone, but that's like on the order of maybe $100,000 to $200,000 to buy a unit. Obviously, Public Works would need to be feeding it into it. This cost included them coming and basically taking the mulch pile and feeding it into their machine, and over the course of like a few weeks, I think. So.
And everything that's in that pile that we would possibly put back into the community would be good. I mean, you guys feel comfortable, the Brazilian red pepper trees will
Yeah.
not spring up
Yeah.
all over the town.
Like incinerated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, the end product, when you look
Yeah.
at it,
It's like charcoal kind of almost.
okay,
Yeah, it's
does it float? when we have floods and rain, so it
I don't
comes
think
out of our
so.
mulches into our drains and the vacuum truck can get it.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But the lady that we were speaking with about this, she said she could even come talk to us, or we can do more research, obviously, but she uses it in industrial waste remediation that she works on to trap pollutants and that kind of thing. So it's pretty effective.
Do they do any demos?
I don't know. What do we pay Republic to come and pick up all of our
The mulch, once we chip it?
Yeah,
It's the same price as because we
Budget
we have to
120?
put it into our
Well, we got,
roll-offs and then they.
for about 8 years,
Mhm.
the guy who kept winning the mulch bid was illegally filling some property of Grand Aransas.
Oh.
And so he was filling it with mulch, which mulch deeper than 12 inches is considered waste.
okay, so if the.
So what happened was that about 3 years ago, the gravy train ended with the free hauling. So now the free hauling went away. So now lately we've been on the hook for the mulching, then paying the hauling.
The haul.
But with and that, well, the haul now, or excuse me, we didn't have a disposal cost. Now we have a disposal cost because we're hauling it to the landfill in Robstown and paying based on the square yardage.
Yeah, it just depends on how many yards you fill up at each. I could pull up it.
So, and again, I'm trying to understand still this process, but 50 grand a year
I think she's, 50 or 60
6.
was the estimate.
versus 120?
No, that's fine.
Well, 120 is what Doug had down on his list for chipping and.
Most transports. And we don't have.
So why don't we do this?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm all aboard. Let's do it.
How often does she come?
I think they were saying annually, so that's the part that we needed to talk with Doug about. Do we do this more than once a year?
No.
It's once a year,
We do
right?
this once a year.
Yeah, so I think some of the units don't require mulching before, but they said that they would bring a chipper and it would be fed into the machine.
Do it and our guys would have to chip it off.
Yeah,
We don't chip. We contract our
We
chipping.
contract the chipper.
yeah.
That's why it's.
There's questions to be asked, right?
Let's ask.
This is still gonna, right, this is still gonna generate a massive pile of something.
Yes.
Well,
Right.
it's like 2%, so that is my question, is what, like, honestly, like after the palm fronds are
Yeah.
combusted in this thing, like, are we left with like a 30-pound bag?
Yeah.
See, if I bring my pump fronds over to the dump and you can make them into like a couple bags of mulch, I'll be back in a couple hours.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's amazing, right? I mean.
Sounds too good to be true.
I know.
Maybe.
I don't wanna get in trouble
Need more answers.
from those nature preserve people if the wind blows the wrong.
Yeah, and I don't want a bag of Brazilian
And all that
pepper tree
charcoal.
mulch.
In your nature.
Well,
Let us, we'll keep researching.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Very
it does sound too good to
Yeah.
be true, but I like it. I mean,
I guess there would be some things like probably if we were gonna keep this material and maybe sell it to residents or use it in projects within the city, like maybe obviously there need to be some kind of area to contain it, like, I don't know, I'm picturing like the rock piles of island construction, an area to keep it in there. I don't know. So there's kind of a lot to think about.
Will
but-
it float or blow away?
Okay.
I mean, if you put your mulch and the rain comes,
Yeah.
off goes your mulch.
we can just tell
I
somebody.
will ask her.
Brace like this is a.
Can we call the Senate?
Yeah,
Not my department.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
I mean, I
really.
think.
maybe I'll go buy some of this and
Try it out.
yeah. Anyway. Like
It's worth checking
turning trash into treasure.
It's in
It's worth checking in.
one of the fire truck,
The birds eat it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
what it looks like, it's in a fire truck tent. Okay, well, all right.
That's a cool thing.
Thanks
So
for
we
that.
call this. This has. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on to item T, discussion on the budget calendar and scheduling of future budget meetings. Please, everyone go to the last page and tentatively.
I know we have very busy people with very busy calendars, so these dates are important.
That is last year's schedule.
It just kind of gives you, no, it is
No, but
just
that-
general of when will we have to reconvene.
Exactly. So that is last year's schedule and I don't have it in my book, but I downloaded it online. So Thursday,
One day off.
Thursday,
feel.
September the 11th is when we really need to have our final vote. Because we are required to give to the county their tax rate by that Friday morning so that they can get bills, and we're not the only entity that they collect for, so we're required to give it to them by then. So we need to back up from them. That Thursday, September 11th, I would definitely recommend that meeting unless anyone has a huge problem with 9/11.
No.
We all have a problem with 9/11. We're still bothered by it, but if we do, then I would recommend like the night or something like that, but that somewhere in that week, which would be September the 8th through the 11th. I tried to, last year we did a really good job of keeping our meetings, well, we had the 12th. Tried to keep them pretty much on a Thursday for your convenience if y'all are around. But 9/11, does anybody have a problem with that date?
I don't think so.
So that would be your public hearing on your budget, your public hearing on your tax rate, if needed, 5 o'clock.
It's usually a pretty quick meeting.
And that meeting is usually very quick.
Right, very quick.
Mhm.
That's 5 p.m.
5 p.m. Yes, sir.
And we can change the time between now and then. We just need to pick a
Yes.
day.
We can change the time. We just need to know because these things do have to be advertised legally in papers and that type of thing. If we're gonna change them, but
3 p.m. so.
we,
It's a
yes,
quick meeting.
we can have as many meetings about the budget as you so desire. Of course, today was July 1st. We did our kickoff. Last year we met on Monday, August the 12th for your first look at the budget. We could do it as early as say the, if you wanted to stay with Thursdays, we could go with say August 7th and you would have your budget by that Monday, the 4th. Possibly even Friday the 1st, that's pushing it depending on when so the tax office is supposed to give you everything on the 25th, the certified roll, but that does not mean they give me all the factors to calculate the tax rate, and we really need the tax rate
Well, Monday.
for that.
Yeah, I would rather push it into that.
The 11th through the
11th,
15th.
the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. I mean, the 14th, that's your birthday date, but we won't do it on your birthday. But the 11th,
What
maybe
is,
the 14th of August,
what?
your birthday.
You put it available 11, 12, 13, I'm gonna get into college.
My calendar says it. I don't know. It's on my phone.
Meetings on birthday.
14.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're saying to change it from the 7th to the 14th?
No, or the 11th.
August
Yeah.
11th is a Monday.
11th, what time?
That would, usually we have them at 5. Now that is your longer meeting, because that's gonna be your first look at the budget.
Three.
Yeah.
3.
Okay, so the 11th is.
Straw poll, Monday at 3?
Yes.
Yes.
Um,
Joellen, was that a yes?
Wendy?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
but 11th,
August Monday, 11, 3 p.m.
that's a short meeting or is that? the
No,
long
that's,
meeting?
That's the long
to
meeting.
discuss the whole budget,
Okay.
numbers, tax rate, everything.
That's a very long meeting. And then you will have your regular meeting the 21st. So we would have items on the budget there. If any meetings any other time that y'all want to have any more on the budget, if you're not happy, you want to talk more, a meeting can be called.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Well,
school starts the next day.
That's true.
well, school starts the next day.
It starts the 12th,
yeah. I mean, I know it doesn't affect.
Only
Here,
Chuck
but
and
does
Chad now, but
YouTube.
it's all good.
But the 14th have to move a kid into college, so.
Oh,
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta move a kid into college that same weekend.
Well, I'm
And
just
so,
wondering if we should start.
and I've gotta be back in Austin the end of the 21st, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Kid- yeah, same reason. So
The
can we move the,
21st?
yeah, can we move the city council meeting to the 20th?
Sure.
August 20th?
City council gonna be on the 20th.
It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday, August 20th.
Yeah. Is it the same day as your city school board meeting?
No, good, you take.
Oh.
So far I have the 11th at 3, August 20th council meeting
At 5.
at 5.
And
Then September 11th.
At
Right.
5.
Right.
That's what I got.
Is
And I
that
would-
it?
Okay,
And I would recommend keeping September 11th at 5 because that's your public hearings.
Yeah.
We gotta be.
And it's usually, like we said, it's usually, yeah. Because it's your public hearings and keep it at
So
your normal
11th,
time.
20th, and then, August 11th, August the 20th, there's council meeting, and September 11th.
And we gotta get with Mark McCliney, and get the date on when we gotta call the venue tonight.
okay, that's, I was gonna say,
David,
can,
yeah.
surely we can pick up one of these dates,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it'll either be the 20th or the 11th. Missed it. I was thinking it was the 18th of August.
I think it may be the 18th too,
Means we
I don't
have
have
to
it
vote
in,
on the
but-
11th.
but we
That's
could,
okay.
that's a regular
Yeah.
meeting, so I mean, it could be done.
The 11th is not a regular
The
meeting.
11th is the budget. That's the budget.
Well, but I mean, it's a meeting, it's not a workshop, we can.
Yeah,
provide it.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I
That's
meant. It's a special meeting, but it is a meeting, that's what I meant.
It's not like this.
Okay, and then July is still the 17th, correct? Our city council meeting, we didn't change that. Okay. Okay. All right.
17th.
Okay. Anything else on dates? All right.
That should cover that.
Okay, so item 8, city council comments and items for future consideration. Are there any? All right, hearing none, we're adjourned. Pretty good.
Not to spare.
Hour and a half to spare and a whole day.
Yeah, we didn't have to go into.